Chapter 346. On one side of the mountain, there were pavilions and small buildings for people to swim in. On the other side of the water, there was a gentle murmur. Paddlers walked along the shore with bamboo poles. On the other side they were happy and sad. They listened to children singing about fishing boats. Dad, Dad, here, here. At the little Luoxue pier, a group of children were carrying backpacks and preparing to go to the other side of the mountain. A girl among them looked at the boat in the water and suddenly shouted to one of them. When a middle-aged man and a 15 or 16-year-old boy stood out and looked over, she waved her hand and turned to the other children beside her and said, "My house is here. I'll bring you to my house later. My brother's roasted shrimp is delicious. Weiwei, is it comfortable to sleep on the boat?" A 6 or 7-year-old child who was about the same age as Weiwei asked curiously. "Well, more or less. I fell asleep after a while." Weiwei looked at her house and put the backpack in front of her. She opened it and took out the things inside. "Weiwei, why are you here?" the middle-aged man asked Weiwei when the boat came over. He was relieved when he saw that there were other children beside Weiwei. Weiwei happily moved forward and let the boat come closer. When the boat came closer, she began to pass the things in the bag to the middle-aged man and her brother. "Brother, Dad, this is what I got when I went to school for the half-month exam. There are 5 century eggs, 3 salted goose eggs, 1 foot of silk, and a new set of toys for playing house. I changed them into hairpins and gave them to my mother. These 10 copper coins are also my reward. Dad, you don't have to pay me next month. I learned well. They didn't ask for money and even gave me things. Dad, you don't have to make clothes for me. The school will make them for me." Weiwei handed the items over one by one and said that each one was correct. Then, she pointed at the 5 seeds embroidered on her chest. One of them was a sprout. Weiwei has a sprout now. In half a month, she has recognized 113 words. They said that other than Sister Luer, Weiwei is the fastest to recognize the most. The middle-aged man took the items one by one. Hearing his daughter's words, a look of disbelief appeared on his face. In just half a month, he had spent 100 copper coins to send his daughter to school, including food and lodging. He had to fork out another 50 copper coins. In just half a month, his daughter had brought back so many things for his family. 2 kinds of eggs and a foot of silk would cost more than 20 copper coins, which was close to 30 copper coins. He also got back 10 copper coins. There was also a hairpin. This hairpin would cost at least 40 copper coins. In total, it was half a month's worth of tuition, food and lodging. Also, from next month onwards, he would no longer need to take money from Zhang Jiazhuangzi. He had not seen his daughter for half a month, and she had become fairer and fatter. Would Zhang Jiazhuangzi do this? Could it be that his daughter had stolen other people's things? Thinking of this, the middle-aged man's face darkened. He was just about to ask when a person wearing the Zhang family's inner court uniform came over. He was holding a small bag in his hand. "You must be Weiwei's father, right? I am the Zhang family's 3-star errand boy. This time I brought the children out to have a look and see the people and things outside. I originally planned to look for your boat when I returned. Your boat has always been sailing between the clouds and the water. I didn't expect to meet you here. This is Weiwei's other prize. Please take a look." The errand boy handed the bag over and said, "In the future, Weiwei doesn't need you to pay a single copper coin. Everything will be managed by the Zhang family. Fishing doesn't require too many people. As for your son Lu Feng, if he is willing, the Zhang family can arrange a job for him." This is salt. It's at least 5 catties." Zhang Zhongren took the bag and immediately knew what it was. He opened it and was even more certain of the things inside. He knew that the salt here was controlled by the provincial government. It wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. Fortunately, he didn't eat a lot. The official price was 10 to 15 copper coins per bucket. When he went to buy it, some sold for 30 copper coins per bucket, while others sold for 40 copper coins. 5 caddies of salt was 20 copper coins. However, this salt was different from what he usually ate. This was fine salt, so it was whiter than the usual salt. It wasn't easy to buy it even if one had the money. After listening to the errand boy's words, it seemed that his daughter Wei Wei was enjoying a good life there. His son could also find a new job. "Father, I want to work and earn money to support the family's expenses." The middle-aged man's son reacted quickly. The other things weren't important. If the Zhang family said that they would find a job for him, it definitely wouldn't be something that could be found anywhere. This kind of good thing was brought by his sister, so he definitely couldn't miss it. He pulled his father's arm and reminded him. The middle-aged man didn't agree just because of a few words. He asked again, "What's so good about my Wei Wei?" "Don't worry, the Zhang family won't harm Wei Wei. Wei Wei has learned more things in half a month than other people combined in 2 months. She hasn't learned anything before, and she's smart and not inflexible. That's why the Zhang family made this decision," the errand boy explained patiently. Seeing that his father was still asking, his son became anxious. "Father, if the Zhang family wants to harm us, what other methods do they have to use?" "Oh right, the Zhang family is good. Then what can my son do?" At this time, the middle-aged man also thought it through. With the power of the Zhang family, as long as his home was still on this river, it was too easy for the Zhang family to harm them. There was no need for them to go through so much trouble. There are 3 workshops in Sanshui County, and one of them is a food processing workshop. The original manager can't handle it, mainly because his skills in processing seafood and freshwater fish and shrimp are not good enough. I heard from Wei Wei that Lu Feng is better than ordinary fishermen in this aspect. He can be the manager of the seafood processing workshop there. Is it possible? The errand boy directly gave the position of manager. Although it wasn't the chief manager of the workshop, it had a lot of power and responsibility. Naturally, it would be more profitable. Wei Wei also knew some things when she was studying there. When she heard that her brother was going to be the manager, she happily said to her father, "Father, that manager will get a salary of 500 copper coins a month. He will also be given food, clothing, accommodation, and transportation during the holidays. He can work for 10 days and take a day off to go home." Really? The middle-aged man didn't expect the Zhang family to directly give such a position. He turned around and looked at his son, afraid that his son couldn't do it. Fenger met his father's gaze and said, "Father, I will try. If it really doesn't work, I will come back to continue fishing." The middle-aged man finally relaxed and nodded. "Okay, then my son will try. This errand boy, if my son causes any trouble, look for me. I will take responsibility." The errand boy was also relieved. He didn't expect that it would be so difficult to arrange a better place for someone to work. If it wasn't for Wei Wei, he wouldn't have cared about his son. "Don't worry, as long as Lu Feng doesn't put poison in the seafood processing, he won't cause any trouble. Tomorrow, let Lu Feng go to the Li family's farmstead and find the person in charge there. Then he can go and do his job. I still have to continue playing with the children. Goodbye." After the errand boy was settled, he cupped his hands to the middle-aged man, patted Wei Wei's head, and walked back. "Father, I'm going to play. I'm going to play at the lake over there. You can go there by boat." Wei Wei put her backpack on her back and said to her father. Then she went back. The other children at the dock wanted to go to Wei Wei's house to take a look, but seeing that the errand boy didn't want to go, they gave up the idea. After the group of children left, Wei Wei's mother came out of the cabin. Just now, she couldn't show her face because her man and son were there, so she could only stay in the cabin and listen. When she heard that her daughter had exchanged a toy for a hairpin for her, she even wiped a few drops of tears. "Mother, I have something to do." Fenger saw his mother come out and said happily, "Good, when you get there, do your job well. Don't embarrass your sister. They are so good to us because of your sister." Wei Wei's mother also knew why the Zhang family did this. The middle-aged man was in a good mood and handed over the hairpin in his hand. "Madam, look, this is what your daughter earned for you." "What, madam? She is an old woman. Quickly send this to the first family in Linshui. Wei Wei's mother snatched the hairpin, blushed, and turned back to the cabin. The middle-aged man slightly pushed the boat, and like a small fish, the boat changed direction and went to the first family in Linshui. With a turn and a push of the pole, the boat was perfectly controlled. Just this move of the pole was enough to deter many people who were rowing the boat. The middle-aged man smiled and muttered, "Our Lu family is all good at this." During the hunting season, the toads in the field croaked regardless of day or night. Some people listened leisurely, while others felt irritated. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan belonged to the group of people who were leisurely. The two of them were swimming in the area behind the yamen where the family lived. The second courtyard that they entered would be the courtyard where the two of them would live in the future. The courtyard door would reopen elsewhere, leaving only a small door here. The two of them held important positions in the family. Many people in the inner courtyard had to come over to discuss matters, so they were given a courtyard with two entrances. In addition to the yamen at the front and the garden at the back, there was a small corner door next to it that allowed people to come directly to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The coal from Elm Village was being loaded into carts and shipped away by boat to Zhongjia Zhuangzi to be used for smelting. It had only been half a month, so no one had noticed or interfered. The two of them were lying on the surface of the water, holding on to the letter written by the frustrated Li Sun. The letter stated that no one had lit the fire, and no one had bought a large amount of wood. Li Sun was asking Zhang Xiaobao if the expert in his imagination had made a mistake in his calculations. "Xiaobao, did you calculate wrongly? Did we underestimate the enemy? No one from Jingshui River has come to make trouble." Wang Wan was also a little uncertain. They had waited for half a month, but nothing had happened at the river. Zhang Xiaobao and Wei Wei smiled and said, "If it were me a few days ago, I wouldn't have done anything either. It wouldn't have worked, and I would have exposed myself in advance. In another 2 days, the winter wheat will be harvested. That's the time when the transportation ability is tested the most." Chapter 347. Wang Wan did not expect Zhang Xiaobao to be so certain. He even deployed another step. "There has been no movement for half a month. How can you be so sure? Half a month is nothing. For a purpose, there are many things that can be done for years. The county has started to build roads. There is no asphalt, no cement, and no bluestone roads. They can only use some gravel to pave the roads. It will take a year or two to repair." Zhang Xiaobao was not willing to spend more time on schemes, so he changed the topic to people's livelihood. He liked to do things related to people's livelihood. He also wanted to do this to cheat money. Unfortunately, God did not give him much time. He just started, and he was not afraid for the rest of his life. His family was powerful. Wang Wan also did not want to ask why Zhang Xiaobao was so certain. "Well, let's not care about other things. Let's talk about road repair. In fact, it is not a problem. A car with wooden wheels needs to be repaired. How much can it overload? Besides, it is not difficult to repair this kind of road. Didn't you see that when it rains, no matter how bad the road is, the people living on both sides of the road will come out to repair it? The more people there are, the fewer potholes on the road. Without anyone telling them, they will repair it themselves." Yes, they will repair it themselves. This kind of thing seems normal now. In the future, get some gravel and put it on both sides of the road. It is not worth much. Pile is only 1 or 2 coins. Leave it there for a year. Unless the rain is too heavy and washes it away, it can be used to pave the road. Zhang Xiaobao was multitasking just now. He was thinking about road repair and coal at the same time. He was thinking about habitual thinking. He remembered some pictures from 100 years ago. There were always piles of gravel on the side of the road in the village. At that time, people would not take gravel to their houses. When the road was not good due to the rain, except for specific people, some old men in the village would take a shovel and help to pave the road. It was hard to understand their motives. Since it could be done at that time, perhaps it could be done better in this era. Wang Wan did not think too much and said, "Let's go, Xiaobao. The two of us will go and take a look." You can catch some toads in the field and stew them for dinner tonight. Toads are beneficial insects. Don't lie to the child. Basically, the louder the voice, the more they eat. Let's go. Wang Wan was not a member of the Animal Protection Association. She just wanted to eat toads. She even had a pond at home. The two of them climbed out of the swimming pool. Zhang Xiaobao specifically found a two-pronged fork to fork the toads. Just as the two of them went out, they came to a small ditch by the side of a field. Before Zhang Xiaobao could do anything, a fast horse ran over. Young master, this time, the Chen family's leading cloth company has started to purchase a large amount of wheat. They said that they want to ship it to Sichuan and sell it to the garrison there. The person on the horse said something to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao and Wei Wei smiled and said, "I know. Don't worry about it. Just pretend it didn't happen." The man on the horse answered. He held the reins and turned the horse around to gallop away. Zhang Xiaobao thought for a while and tightened his grip on the fork. "Don't worry about it. Let's enjoy life and continue to fork the toads. Someone is going to be unlucky again." Wang Wan felt sad for those who came to find trouble. From time to time, one or several small boats could be seen on the connected river. They were carrying people and goods. Zhang Zhong had found 3 places where they could pull the fibers. It did solve the problems of life for dozens of people. Every day, people would ask them to pull the fibers in order to save time. Unexpectedly, not only did they pull the fibers themselves, but they also borrowed money to buy a few donkeys. With the donkeys pulling the fibers, the speed was much faster. The people pulling the fibers were relieved, and the owners of the boats were happy. When Zhang Xiaobao heard about this, he asked people to pay attention to the person who came up with the idea. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were really short of manpower. They only had a few people, but their business was too big. They did not even have a mobile person. Erniu was also sent out to manage the coal mine. The children in Zhuangzi's school were studying hard, but they were too young to use them. The academy had just been built, and the teachers had not all arrived yet. Facing this situation, the main force pulling the fibers by the river, Sun Chongyuan, who still knew how to use his brain and courage, was put on the list of people to pay attention to. At this time, Sun Chongyuan was commanding a few people to pull the boat together. This boat was not big, but it was heavy. No one knew what was on it, but the people pulling the fibers were worried that the boat would run aground. The 6 of them put a white linen cloth on their shoulders. The innermost layer was a layer of leather, which could make their shoulders more comfortable. There were also 4 donkeys harnessed there, pulling with them. The donkeys were strong and had good endurance, but sometimes they were not obedient. Otherwise, no one would use them. "Brother Chongyun, what do you think is on this boat? So heavy. Don't tell me it's stones." One of the people pulling the fibers asked Sun Chongyuan, who was beside him. "Don't think too much. We did not offend anyone. Who would put stones on this boat to make us suffer? The people coming here are looking for money, not for energy. If it's really stones, then they are precious stones. Ordinary stones are useless when transported here. Who knows, they might be filled with copper coins." Sun Chongyuan moved his feet. With the donkey pulling in front of him, he saved a lot of energy. He was even able to switch the rope from his left shoulder to his right. This switch made him feel much more comfortable. He glanced back and saw a few people standing on the bow of the boat. He quickly turned his head back and continued to pull. The people standing at the bow of the boat were also looking around. They felt that this place was interesting. There were actually people pulling fibers. The people at the bow of the boat also knew about some of the things happening in Huayuan County. In just 20 days, a place that no merchants were willing to come to in the past had a large number of merchants. Some were transporting food, some were transporting cloth, and some were transporting salt and meat. It gave people the feeling that this was not the Zhong County that was made poor by County Magistrate Wen, but a Shang County. "Brother Qianyuan, did you see that? Huayuan County's County Magistrate Zhang Zhong is a capable person. Since he took office, he first took in the bailiffs. Then, he took in those documents. Shao Qi was sent to Beijing the moment he took action. His house was also raided. The last time he was here was half a year ago, right? At that time, the people of Huayuan County were all in a daze. What about now? He was so happy when he was working. This was his ability. If he was the head of a manor, he would be able to turn a middle county into an upper county within 2 years. If he was the county magistrate, he would be able to turn the entire county upside down within a month. He has politics, commerce, agriculture, and even an official. He is also the top scorer of this year's Jinshi. This kind of person, no matter where you put him, you will feel at ease. The only thing you don't know is how he is in terms of military strategy. If he can do this, won't he be an all-rounder? At the bow of the boat, a person wearing light yellow clothes with green stripes said to the person next to him. The person next to him was also wearing light yellow clothes, but the color was light green. At this time, he was looking with his hands behind his back. When he heard the person next to him, he said, "Brother Wei Tong, are you scared? Everyone says that Zhongjia Zhuangzi is very powerful and that the small bridge is the bridge of helplessness. I don't believe it. No matter how powerful he is only one person. If you and I work together, won't it be easy to deal with him? We are not people from the grain company, and we are not people who don't have the ability to do anything. If we were not in the same place, it would be fine. But this river here, how much business has he stolen from us? If we retreat, how can we raise our heads in front of others in the future? Brother Chenyuan, whether we raise our heads or not is not important. The main thing is that Bu Xing, who dares to interfere at this time. If they take in the goods, how can we take in the goods? They raise the price and take in the goods, saying that they will take in some of the goods. If that is the case, how can we still get wheat? Are we going to wait for the spring wheat and rice crops to harvest? The person who spoke earlier did not care about his reputation. Merchants like them did not think that reputation was important. Compared to farmers, their status was inferior. Even if they were richer than farmers, what he cared about was money. Everyone knew that grain was needed at the border. The production of grain around the capital was poor, so it had to be transported from the south. Every year when it was time to harvest, they could take advantage of the opportunity to lower the price and raise the price to make a profit. The more capital they invested, the more they would earn. The person who was called Chen Yuan was also thinking about this matter. What was different this year from previous years was that basically every family in Sanshui County grew rice. If they could not get the wheat this time, or if they could not use transport to lower the price, when a large amount of rice was harvested, no one would look for them again. Just thinking about what was about to happen made him uncomfortable. This time, no matter what, he had to get the wheat and ship it out to sell. While he was thinking about this matter, the person next to him said, "Brother Chen Yuan, we still have to think about this matter. We can't rush it. Why don't we ask that person from the Chen family?" This time he was pushed to the front. "I heard that he is not on good terms with the Zhang family. Why don't we take this opportunity to get in touch with him?" "Well, that's good too. Even if we can't touch the Zhang family's foundation, we have to let them know who they can and can't afford to offend. We'll be at the docks soon, right? Let's see what they've done to the docks. If we can make use of it, this trip will not be in vain." Perhaps he was tormented by the situation and had no other choice. He thought there was nothing in this world that could not be united. It was just that he had not found that door yet. After he said this, the two of them went silent again. They just stood at the bow of the boat, letting the wind blow past them from time to time. Sometimes it would blow up the corners of the boat, and sometimes it would blow their hair into a mess. In short, it showed a kind of freedom. Chapter 348. As the two of them talked, they walked for a while before a connected garden appeared in front of them. The two of them didn't understand why a garden was built not far from the pier. Of course, they didn't know that one of the 16 businessmen who went to Hua Yuanxian's yamen had ancestors who practiced medicine. One of them had even been an imperial physician. However, in his life he found that he would starve to death if he went on like this. That was why he was determined to be a rich man since he was young. He wanted to eat and drink well. Regardless of whether it was his persistence or talent, he traveled a long way on the road of business. He planned to build a warehouse of medicinal materials next to the dock. People who practiced medicine not only knew how to treat patients, but also knew how to distinguish medicinal materials. They also knew how to store and keep medicinal materials. They even knew how to do some processing. Before the warehouse of medicinal materials was built, his father came. Compared to him, his father was more skilled in medicine. It was said that the person who wrote the prescription used to live in a mountain in Huayuan County. Mu Ming had come here to meet with the merchant. While he was preparing to build a warehouse for medicinal ingredients, his father wanted to stay here and take a look. At the same time, he also wanted to treat a few people. However, the people who were sent by Zhang Xiaobao to find out what business they wanted to do found out. They went back and told Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was a person who wouldn't miss such an opportunity. He immediately found his father to discuss it. Under the lead of his father, Zhang Zhong, and the businessman's father, a place to treat patients was built in a short time. However, this was still not enough. When practicing medicine, it was impossible for everyone to be treated with acupuncture and medicine. Some people needed long-term treatment. Zhang Xiaobao handed over this matter and built some wards for the hospital, specifically for observation and treatment of patients. It was a very simple thing, but it was also a waste of resources. Just because of Sun Simiao's name, Zhang Xiaobao pushed it out. It didn't matter whether the businessman's father was skilled or not. What was important was that there would be many medical students coming to see the mountain where Sun Simiao lived. If they felt that the medical skills of the people in the hospital were not good enough, they would naturally put forward their own opinions. Then, the people arranged by Zhang Xiaobao would find a way to keep them. In the name of saving the common people, they would use Sun Simiao's name to expand the hospital. In order to compensate the merchants for the 5,000 strings of coins and the ginseng they sent, they took out a few hundred strings of coins. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan designed this place that combined treatment and cultivation. They found someone to plant some willow branches and waited for them to slowly grow into willow trees. He then contacted the person who sold the cotton and bought some cotton from him. Then he asked the local people to pick some wild flowers. Gardens were built one by one. Not to mention whether the patients were really cured or not. In such an environment, one's mood was different. In the past few days, there had been people who were truly devoted to the study of medicine. They had indeed come to cause trouble. If they came, they would set up an arena. If they lost, they would not have to leave. What was the point of people like them leaving? They should be doctors here, helping out and learning more. If they won, they could not leave. Did they come here to fight to become famous? A doctor has the heart of a parent. If they leave, aren't they afraid that others will be treated badly? You have to give them some pointers. Otherwise, do you deserve Sun Simiao's precious prescription? Do you still have medical ethics? Have you never seen the sincerity of a great doctor? If you want to leave, then leave. Anyway, there are many people coming and going. In the future, I will help you spread the word. You don't save people and rely on small Taoists. What kind of doctor are you? What? You are a doctor. You want to go back to the palace. Then why did you come out? You can treat people in the palace, but not in the county. Is there a difference between rich and poor when sick? There are countless people who are sick in the world. If you can treat one person, you can leave a record of your treatment. Learn from Sun Simiao's selflessness and pass it on to the later generations. Every time you treat a person, you can let the later generations have the experience of treating people and engrave it on a tombstone. As for the money and medicine, you don't have to worry too much. When a doctor thinks that there is a time when there is no doctor in the world, how can a businessman have a heart of stone? I will give you money to spend and help you collect medicinal materials. I will also give you help from the county government office. You can stay. After a series of big words, threats and inducements, most of the skilled people were fooled into staying. In just a few days, they treated more than 10 people, making the reputation of the clinic rise. In front of them was the main traffic road. and behind them was the mountain where Sun Simiao used to live. The 80 books he wrote were recorded and engraved on the stone tablet on the mountain, and on the big billboards in various places of the hospital. This kind of effort made the businessman, who thought that he had lost 5,000 strings of coins, smile happily. After other businessmen heard about it, they were also willing to invest here. The county government office didn't cheat others of their money and really helped them to do things. In addition to this hospital, the other 15 businessmen, who worked together to build a place or worked alone, were all taken care of by Zhang Xiaobao. Some wanted to build a restaurant. Zhang Xiaobao specially sent people to deliver seasonings, providing long-term supply. He also taught them how to make fast food. Originally there was already fast food at this time, but it was not very convenient to carry it around. Zhang Xiaobao asked people to contact them to buy and sell vegetable oil. They tried to use more fried food, not because it was good but because it was convenient to carry. He also provided them with a stable lunchbox manufacturing factory, which was the one in the 3 workshops that processed wood. In the name of helping, Zhang Xiaobao could also make some money. Some people wanted to build a carriage company, so Zhang Xiaobao also asked his father to start building roads here first. He helped them to finish the road construction as soon as possible, so that transportation would be convenient. Even if there were 2 businessmen who worked together at first, but they didn't know what to build and only wanted to build a warehouse, Zhang Xiaobao could also think of a good idea for them. In the summer, they would freeze the cheap meat they collected and wait until winter to resell it. They would be able to earn the difference in price. From next year onwards, as long as the river was frozen, they would be able to dig out the frozen river and keep it until the next winter to provide air conditioning for the cold storage. This year was simple. At the Shao Luoshui wharf, there was still a lot of ice left last year. They were worried that there was no place to sell it. Some of that ice could be used to eat and drink, and some could only be put in the house to cool down. They transported it from there and sold it to 2 businessmen at a cheaper price. Following the river, they could use their own boats to quickly support the cold warehouse. After helping the businessmen, Zhang Xiaobao sold a lot of his goods. He also provided a handicraft manufacturing job opportunity for the people in Sanshui County and Huayuan County. The businessmen were satisfied. A lot of the money they took out was used on them, such as planting trees, repairing roads, etc. Zhang Zhong, the county magistrate, also helped them to solve some of the raw materials. People were also satisfied. As long as they had some craftsmanship, they could make things after receiving the raw materials shipped by the Zhang family. They didn't have to worry about not being able to sell the finished products. They had already contacted good people, and the people who got the raw materials saved some money. The people in the 3 workshops were also satisfied. Now that they had the demand of the businessmen in Huayuan County and the river was connected to them, as long as the products were not too bad, they could sell them. Their welfare also increased a lot. The relatives of the Zhang family and the Wang family were satisfied. They were originally afraid that it would be difficult to sell too many things. Now, with Zhang Xiaobao's help, not only could they sell the goods, but they could also help others. Good people, all of them were good people. While Li Sun was satisfied, he was also shocked. He felt that the expert from the Zhang family would not let go of even the slightest chance. He would link everything together and let the Zhang family gain benefits, and let the people who cooperated with the Zhang family gain benefits as well. It could not be said that the Zhang family was pushed to do something by the Zhang family, or the Zhang family was enticing others to do it. Anyway, in the end everyone was happy. Even Bai Gou's nephew wrote a letter to his uncle, saying that the Zhang family's shipyard was the first to send the boats over. They could rent or sell them, and this made a lot of money for his wharf. This cooperation made the people outside feel the capability of the Zhang family again. This was also what worried the people on the boats a little. The 2 of them knew the power of the Zhang family, but sometimes they had to do something. They were used to making money by the Jing River. The Jing River was their rice bowl. The connection of the small river would steal their rice bowl. If they didn't act now, they wouldn't have another chance after this year. When the small merchants got used to this road and worked together, they wouldn't be able to act even if they wanted to. Some of the bigger merchants even started to use this small river to transport their goods when they were in low quantities. The two of them stood at the bow and watched. They saw the rapid development of Huayuan County and saw the business opportunities brought by this river. There were even more business opportunities than their big river. The big river's current was fast, so it was impossible to stop the boats everywhere, but the small river could. It was strenuous to go against the flow of the big river, but it was easy to go against the small river. When the big river reached the capital, they had to take a detour. There was no need to use the small river. If someone fell into the river, it was too difficult to save them. If someone fell into the river, they could be picked up by any boat. Those who knew how to swim could swim to the shore. If there were shortcomings, it was nothing more than the small river's transport capacity was limited. Big boats couldn't use the small river, and the speed was not as fast as the big river. However, these two shortcomings were not shortcomings. How many people could use the small river to transport goods? The speed was not as fast as the big river, but there was no backlog. Once the goods were loaded, they could leave. Chapter 349. Guoren, Guochenyuan, Mi Fan, and Mi Weitong just watched without saying a word. They really wanted to learn how this was done. Would it work if it was on the Jingshui River? The two of them really couldn't figure out how this could be done in such a short time. Was the top scholar different from others? As the boat moved forward, the two of them also looked around. They had already entered the places where the merchants did business. Most of them were auxiliary businesses, but there were many people coming in and out. There was even one who had joined forces with little Luo Shui to set up an intermediary. The information from both places didn't go by boat, but by horse. In this way, there was an exchange of information between the two docks. In just one day, the new intermediary's information would be sent over, and the merchants at the two docks would be able to obtain more useful information. From there, they would be able to decide whether to unload the goods at the docks or ship them to the docks. When the boat reached the dock, the two of them realized that this dock was different from other docks. Other docks docked directly by the river, but this river was small. There were too many boats docked here, and other boats couldn't pass through. The person who built this dock had actually dug a man-made lake. It wasn't that big to call it a lake. It was just that at the back there was a connecting waterway. The water wasn't too deep, but it was slightly wider. All the boats docked at the dock directly entered the waterway and unloaded from there. This way the water flow wasn't fast, and the river wasn't blocked. It was really convenient. How is it? Brother Chenyan, do you see now? A few days ago, the people who came to ask for information didn't mention that there was a waterway here. Today you see it. That Zheng guy doesn't have such great ability. It must be the Zhang family who told him. Mi Fan didn't want the boat to stop. She stood at the bow of the boat with her hands behind her back and said to Guoren. Guoren nodded. He had to admit that Huayuan County was changing rapidly every day. I don't know what it will be like in a few days. Let's go, this isn't our destination. Let's go to the Chen family first, then go up and see where little Luo Shui is. Let's not go to the Chen family for now. I think the people from the cloth store want to take advantage of us this time. While we are in chaos, we have no reason to let them do what they want. When it comes to collecting grain, we used to rob a part of the grain store's business. It couldn't be that a lion had snatched some food that belonged to wolves in the past and found that another lion had also come over to eat it, and then said to the other lion that this was his food, right? The result would be two lions fighting, with a wolf waiting at the side. There would also be a person who was originally going to kill the lion, happily hiding at the side with a hunting bow in his hand. Mi Fan thought a bit more and analyzed the situation. She used the simplest example to explain it so that Guoren could understand. He was also vexed about this matter. When there were benefits, everyone wanted to get a share. When the cloth company interfered, the grain company did nothing. It could only be said that the grain company was waiting for an opportunity. In the past they couldn't get a share, but now that they had lost it, they were waiting for a conflict to break out between them and the cloth company. Then what should we do? We can't let the cloth company interfere just because this hole should belong to the grain company, right? Now that we are robbed, we can't just let the cloth company interfere, right? Look at the price they are paying. They are actually increasing the price by 1 yuan for 1 bushel of wheat. Wait until other places find out and transport the wheat here. Should we also increase the price by 1 yuan or even more to collect the wheat? Guo Ran didn't think it was a good deal no matter how he thought about it. The wheat that Sanshui County could collect was too little. Other people grew rice, while Huayuan County grew more rice. However, the people in Huayuan County were starving this spring, so they wouldn't be able to sell much wheat in the fall. The extra one from the cloth company was clearly prepared for the people who grew wheat in the surrounding areas. To be more precise, it was prepared for the small merchants who bought wheat. They bought wheat and spent the transportation fees. No matter what, they could earn 3 or 4 yuan per bushel. They didn't have to manage it themselves, so they just had to arrange for people to do it. There were even some small merchants who would hoard the grains and wait for others to increase the price. When the time came, they would consider who to sell to. This was not the result they wanted. In the past, transporting by land was more expensive than the grain itself. Those merchants had no choice but to sell the grain to them. They controlled the Jing River. But now they didn't have to be afraid. The merchants could take another route, which was more convenient for them to transport the grain. When that time came, how much would the price of this year's grain increase? Mi Fan also understood the importance of this matter. Other people were not fools. Naturally, they would estimate the price. However, he always felt that things weren't as simple as they seemed. There was a conspiracy, but he couldn't figure out where the conspiracy was. This made him have no choice but to be cautious. He knew who his opponent this time was and how powerful his opponent was. He had also heard of many people who had come to find trouble with him, but they had all been defeated in front of that ordinary-looking manner. Seeing Guo Ran beside him anxious, he advised, "Brother Chenyan, there's no need to be like this. Right now we're in the dark and they're in the light. If we really look for that Chen guy, it's very likely that we'll be exposed. We're not dealing with the cloth company but the Zhang family. The cloth company's matter has indeed caught us a little off guard. At worst we can give up on this. Let's deal with the Zhang family first. What's so difficult about dealing with the Zhang family? Let's show them what we're capable of and they'll know what to do. I'll let them beg us to come and get a share of the profits. Last time I said that we should burn down their shipyard, but you didn't agree. What do you think now? They don't make big ships there, they only make small boats. We can even go to other shipyards to buy skeletons, stick a piece of wood on them and sell it to others. This will increase the number of small boats on this river. When they make big ships in the future, if they don't sell them, we can directly transport goods on the Jing River. We still have to think about how to deal with a marquis." When Guo Ran brought up the matter of dealing with the Zhang family, he felt a bellyful of anger. The shipyard had just been built, and it was a mess. If they set fire, no one would be able to find out who did it. In the end, he brought it up a few times, but Mi Fan didn't agree. Once they started building big ships, the security there would be tighter, and it wouldn't be so easy to set fire to it. Mi Fan also knew that Guo Ran had been complaining about how he had tried to stop him back then, but he couldn't do anything about it. After being flooded once when he was young, he always knew about some dangers in advance, so he was able to prepare and avoid them. This time, just as he was about to agree to set fire to the shipyard, that uncomfortable feeling came again. And it was even worse than before, so he didn't dare to agree. Even now, he was standing at the bow of the ship with a relaxed expression, but he still felt uncomfortable. He always felt like he was being watched, and when he wanted to do something, not only did the person not stop him, but he also sneered repeatedly. Just now, when Guo Ran said that he was going to the Chen family, he couldn't help but tremble, as if he couldn't go anywhere. Now that Guo Ran brought up the matter of burning the shipyard again, he could only continue to persuade him. "Brother Chenyuan, we're all businessmen and we're just looking for money. Last time I listened to you and sent people to rob you. What happened? They almost found out our identities. Do you think it's so easy to set fire? It's better to be safe than sorry. Don't be anxious, let's think about it at length. Setting fire to the shipyard. We definitely can't do it unless we have no other choice. They're still so chaotic now. Didn't the people we sent to gather information say that because they were rushing to make boats, it's even more chaotic than before? It's not too late to set fire to the shipyard then. Let's go up and see if there's any other way. After hearing Mi Fan's words, Guo Ren didn't mention setting fire to the shipyard anymore. He was used to listening to Mi Fan's words, and Mi Fan was always able to let him and the others gain more benefits. Now he had no other choice but to go up with the ship and let Mi Fan come up with ideas. Their ship was different from the small boats here. They had built it themselves, had more oars, and could row very quickly. If it wasn't for the heavy load on the ship, there wouldn't have been a need for someone to pull the cable. When it was almost noon, the two of them sat at the bow of the ship, eating and drinking with the others while admiring the scenery on both sides. In front of them, they could faintly see the restaurant between the clouds and the water. Compared to the original between the clouds and the water, there were many people coming and going between the clouds and the water now. Many people came here on small boats because it was convenient to travel. They wanted to taste the unique dishes between the clouds and the water and experience the feeling of being in the center of the water. The ship moved forward for a while and came to a man-made lake. Reeds had been planted here. Next year, or perhaps this autumn, they would see patches of reeds growing. Many people only knew that the reeds looked good, but it wasn't hard to guess that the Zhang family was preparing to cut the reeds in winter and weave them into straw curtains to sell to people who were preparing to grow vegetables in winter. Good, the scenery is really good. What do you think, Brother Weitong? If they didn't steal our business, I would really like to have a chat with that Zhang Zhong and come here when I have nothing to do. While eating, one of the people looked at the scenery between the clouds and the water and sighed. There were pavilions built here, and there was no lack of corridors connecting the pavilions. There were also some flowers and plants on the corridors and pavilions. When the sun shone on the water vapor appeared through the reeds. It really did feel like a trip between the clouds and the water. It's good, but I wonder what happened in front. From now on, don't say what you said just now. If someone hears it, they will expose us. Mi Fan also felt that the restaurant built in the water was good. When eating there, they could see the reeds outside, the corridors and pavilions in the lake, and the clouds in the sky and the flowing water in the distance. Sitting there, he felt that it was worth a few strings of coins. Chapter 350. The boat did not stop at the group of restaurants between the clouds and the water. It continued forward until it reached the small bridge. The small bridge had been torn down and replaced with a new bridge that was higher. Otherwise, the boat would not be able to pass. Some people made the boat special. Although it was not deep in the water, it was very high. It could carry a lot of goods, and it was not that wide. Seeing that they were about to reach the small bridge, the people sitting at the bow of the boat all stood up at the same time. They looked at the surrounding scenery in disbelief. This is the Zhuangzi of Zhang Wang and Gusan family. How is this still Zhuangzi? This is clearly a paradise on earth. One of the people came here for the first time. Even though he had heard people say that this place was good, it was not as shocking as seeing it with his own eyes. Just as Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao had designed, the villagers lived in picturesque two-story houses that had just been built. Some places were still damp. On the Zhuangzi of Zhang Wang and Gusan family, there was no ordinary road at all. Wherever one walked, it was paved with bluestone. Canals snaked through the spaces between the houses. Beside the canals were cloisters with flowers and plants on both sides of the cloisters. In addition to these, there were several ponds connected to the canals. Occasionally, one could see fish jumping up in the canals beside the pavilions. They swung their tails in the air and fell back, bringing with them a string of water droplets that sparkled under the sunlight. There were also small wooden houses in some places. It was noon, and the children who were too young to be brought out to play were walking around. A burst of laughter was heard by everyone. There was also a road that connected to the other side of the mountain. It had been built into a winding road. From time to time, birds would fly out of the mountain and circle around the ponds and the road. They would chirp and fly back, letting people see their elegant figures when they spread their wings. The Zhuangzi of Gusan family was built a little later. There was still a part that was not built, but together with the Zhang Wang and Gusan family, it looked just as charming. Everyone stood at the bow of the ship and stared blankly, as if they didn't want to leave after coming here. The people on the ships that passed by them saw them like this and could understand. When they first came here and saw such a scene for the first time, not a single one of them was not stunned. No wonder so many people are willing to come here to eat. It's not just between the clouds and the water. The two Zhuangzi are even more beautiful than between the clouds and the water. You can even go to the mountains to play. I heard that there's a pond in the mountains as well. The fish you catch will be cooked on the spot for those who go there to eat. The person who had just praised the Shuiyun Club said enviously when he saw the tourists strolling around the Shuiyun Club alone or in groups of 3 or 5. If it weren't for the fact that he had to see what was going on here, he would have gone down and followed the tourists up the stairs or strolled around the corridors. Mi Fan was also attracted by the scenery. Such a place was not easy to come by. Usually there were few people in beautiful places. It was too cold and quiet. Wandering around those places was to experience a special kind of ethereal feeling. This place was different. Amidst the emptiness, there was a strong sense of peace. Even if there was anger in one's heart upon seeing such a scene, seeing the laughing child, seeing the fish jumping in the canal beside the child, and then looking at the surrounding green fields, one's anger would dissipate, and he would reveal a knowing smile. If one could live here and come here to take a look when they had nothing to do, they would definitely be able to live a few more years. Occasionally, they would pick up a hoe to hoe the grass. The rural scenery was nothing more than that. Looking back at the different restaurants between the clouds and the water, they sighed with emotion. It's really good. The farmers on Zhuangzi are the ones who really enjoy life. One side is the sky, the other side is the mountain, the other side is the water, and there's also the fields. This is the scenery that people have always said, the mountain by the side and the water in the middle. Everyone nodded one after another. When they crossed the small bridge and continued forward, they would turn back from time to time, looking back with nostalgia. The boat traveled for another 2 hours. In the afternoon, when the sun was at its peak, everyone finally prepared to return to the cabin to take a nap. At this moment, a boat caught up with them. Speed was very fast. The boat was narrow, so in a short while it stuck to the boat. The boat was a little lower, so was the person standing on it. He said to the people on the boat, "Did you come from the Jingshui River? Are you the people on the boat over there? I'm a 5-star errand boy from the Zhang family. I'm here to bring a letter for the main family." As he spoke, the man took out a sealed letter from his sleeve and handed it up. Everyone was stunned for a moment. At the same time they felt cold sweat seeping out. They thought that the Zhang family knew that they were behind this and had come to warn them. The person guarding the boat looked warily at the Zhang family below. Without an order, he wouldn't accept the letter. However, Guo Ren's personality was different from the others. He said loudly, "What are you afraid of? Just take it." The person guarding the boat carefully took the letter. The Zhang family man said, "The main family's master said that if you think that the matter over there is feasible, you can stay in the first family by the river for 2 days. Naturally, someone will come and find you to discuss the details. I wish you all a smooth journey. Goodbye." After the man finished speaking, he gave the person rowing the boat a look. The boat turned around and the 2 oars moved. In a few moments it became a small black dot and went away. Guo Ren took the letter and carefully looked at the outside. There was not a single word on the outside, only a picture of a rice sprout. He then looked in the direction that the boat came from. At this time it was already gone. He thought for a moment and opened the letter with a knife. He glanced at it and handed it to Mi Fan. "Brother Wei Tong, tell me what's written inside? If you don't understand, just give it to me. Don't pretend there." Mi Fan took the letter and began to read it carefully. After reading 2 lines, she let out a sigh of relief. It wasn't the Zhang family warning them not to cause trouble. Instead, it was a suggestion for them to cooperate with the docks to build a large ship. When the time came, they would travel together. There weren't many words on the letter. It only gave a general idea, but it allowed people to understand the business opportunity contained within. Zhang Zhong's name was written at the bottom of the letter. There was also a private seal and a rice seedling. It's like this. The Zhang family wants. Mi Fan read it herself and told the contents of the letter to the people who were still waiting to know what was written. A merchant immediately said, "This is a good idea. We also have a dock that has been built for many years. It will be easier to build a big boat. When the time comes, we can make more money. I trust the Zhang family's ability to make money." When he said this, Guo Ran was not willing to accept it. "What good idea? I don't think we can work with them. Their dock has just been built. There are people who don't know how to work. They clearly feel that it is difficult to build a big boat by themselves, so they want us to help them. Listen to what Brother Weitong said just now. Let our dock send a few people to teach them how to build a boat. We will also build a boat. Teaching them how to build a boat is what they want the most. When the time comes, the 3 workshops will all be theirs. Even if we ship the goods back, it will be difficult to sell them. We don't want to do it. Whoever wants to do it can go and tell them." After he finished speaking, someone beside him also felt the same and agreed with his opinion, saying, "That is indeed the case. Although they have written it, when the time comes they will write a contract and give us a portion of the 3 workshops. When the time comes, we will divide the profits according to the agreed upon amount. But if they build a few more workshops and ship their goods to the workshops over there, when our goods are shipped to the workshops over there, won't it be our goods that let them make money while their goods are all theirs?" "Yes, that's right. They can't be trusted. If we want to go by sea, can't we build our own boats? It's just that we don't know the details. Why don't we pretend that we want to work with them and ask for the details? When the time comes, we will work hard to build a big boat. If we don't agree to work with them, they can't say anything. Besides, we are preparing to deal with them now. If we agree and then attack them, how will the other merchants view us?" Another person chimed in from the side. Now, there were even more people who felt that it was impossible. Mi Fan was indeed tempted. Compared to Jing Shui, shipping seemed to be more profitable. Just 1 trip and she would be able to work in Jing Shui for 8 to 10 years. Now that he heard others say this, he also hesitated and didn't know how to choose. "Brother Weitong, don't think about that. Think about how to deal with the Zhang family. We can do that ourselves. Let's wait at Lin Shui's first shop and ask them clearly. Then we can discuss it. When the time comes, we will turn hostile. What can they do?" Guo Ren suddenly spoke at this time. He snatched the letter and casually folded it before stuffing it into the envelope. Mi Fan saw that so many people were against it. Wei nodded. "Fine, then let's think about how to deal with the Zhang family. When the time comes, we will go and take a look ourselves. Let's build a big boat first. We must build it well. Otherwise, when we enter the sea, we won't be able to withstand the wind and waves." Everyone was afraid that he would agree to the Zhang family. That would make things difficult. Hearing that he agreed, they would first deceive the Zhang family, then turn to deal with the Zhang family. Then they would snatch the business in the sea. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. "Let the boat go faster. When we see little Luo Shui, we will see if we can stop some people who are transporting wheat. Our boat is loaded with tens of thousands of strings of coins. We can't make this trip for nothing. No matter what, we have to collect some wheat and go back to see the market." Mi Fan didn't want to think about the cooperation anymore. He ordered the boat to speed up. As the shouts spread, the people rowing the boat began to exert force. The heavy boat was rowed to about the same speed as the other small boats. Everyone prepared to rest for a while and entered the cabin. Before Mi Fan entered, she stood at the entrance of the cabin and looked in the direction of the Zhang family. Then, she shook her head and lowered her head to enter the cabin. At the end, she was muttering, Chapter 351. Huayuan County was different from Sanshui County. At this time they were harvesting wheat. The winter wheat had already grown, but the work in the mountains was not done yet. Most of the people who had land could only go back to harvest. However, the work in the county could not be left undone. Zhang Zhong originally wanted to ask the yamen in Sanshui County to release a notice to ask the people in Sanshui County to come and work. However, he was stopped by Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao did not feel that it was better to ask the people in Sanshui County to come and work than other counties. The work in Huayuan County was considered basic construction and could not directly generate economic benefits. If the people in Sanshui County came to work, no matter how much they ate and drank, the money they spent could not compare to the wages they paid. It was not a form of domestic sales to stimulate the economy. If the people in Sanshui County earned money for nothing, the people in Sanshui County would not come to live in Huayuan County. Sanshui County was better than the current Huayuan County. It was better for the people in Sanshui County, but the promotion in Huayuan County was slower. Zhang Xiaobao asked his father to find people to spread the news in other counties that Huayuan County lacked people to work. There were places like Hunan Province, where the wheat was harvested early and they were planting other crops. There should be people who were free. In the surrounding counties there were also people who were free. He called them over and asked them to build. During the construction process, he kept talking to them about how good Huayuan County would be after the construction and how much money they could earn by living here. When they finished building, there would naturally be some people who liked Huayuan County and were willing to live here. Especially those who did not have land, it was easy for them to go anywhere. Since it was close to the capital, there was coal, and the transportation was convenient. Huayuan County should not become an agricultural county. It should exist as a processing and auxiliary place. When Zhang Zhong heard his son's words, he felt that it was reasonable. On the same day, he asked people to spread the news in the surrounding counties. At this time, there were already 500 people from the surrounding counties who came. Some even brought their families and prepared to live in Huayuan County. Zhang Zhong divided the people into two groups. One group went to repair the road near the docks, while the other group went to repair the mountain. When outsiders came to the county, some of their needs increased. Even if these people were not very rich and spent less money, they were still spending money. Zhang Zhong paid them their wages every day. In addition to the consumption driven by these people, there were also merchants who wanted to do business here. When they sold goods, they needed transportation, food, and a shop. They were also a part of the consumer group. When they brought in taxes to the county, they also increased the demand for some goods in Huayuan County. The middlemen at the docks considered the matter at Little Luoshui. Some of the merchants who were transporting goods felt that it was not worth it to continue moving forward. Coincidentally, Huayuan County also needed goods, so they directly transported goods from the docks to the county. The number of people in Huayuan County suddenly increased, making it seem more prosperous. The law and order here was not like in Sanshui County. There were always people who wanted to do something were caught, locked up, and then released to help repair roads elsewhere. Moreover, they were not paid. It was not easy for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to walk around the streets now. Their families were afraid that something would happen to them if the streets were chaotic. Now, both families had moved to a place behind the yamen to live. Fortunately, there were many courtyards and there were still some people in Sanshui County. Otherwise, it would not be able to fit them. Today, Zhang Zhong wanted to go out and have a look. In the morning, other than some official business, he also closed 2 cases. Basically, there was nothing important in the afternoon. Unless there was a death or an emergency, he would postpone it until the next day. Zhang Zhong went out with the bodyguards and yamen runners. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found an opportunity to follow Zhang Zhong out. With so many people protecting them, there was no need to worry. The yamen runners were on the periphery, and the bodyguards were in front. There were some new faces among the yamen runners. Since Huayuan County received 80,000 strings of coins, they recruited more than 200 yamen runners at one time. Together with the original number, they were short of 300 people. They also bought some horses one after another, and less than half of them could ride on them to patrol. As for the newly recruited yeoman runners who did not have horses, they could not be idle. Other than patrolling in shifts in the county, they had to train in the field that was set up by the yeoman. At this time, the yeoman runner who was walking on the periphery was a newly recruited yeoman runner. He looked around vigilantly, as if everyone could hurt the county magistrate. It was obvious that he was a newcomer, and the old man would not be so obvious. Wang Wan felt the changes in the county and asked Zhang Xiaobao, who was a little absent-minded beside her. Xiaobao, Huayuan County has finished harvesting the winter wheat this time. Do you still want to continue planting the same as before? Zhang Xiaobao now had too many things to consider, including what Wang Wan was talking about. After being touched by Wang Wan, he raised his head, thought carefully and said, "Let's plant some vegetables." Vegetables are not valuable elsewhere, but they can still be sold for a good price in the capital. Plant some cucumbers, eggplants, and other vegetables. We also need to plant many kinds of radishes. We can dry them in the shade and keep them for winter. We can't always rely on the same method of planting vegetables in winter. Wang Wan thought carefully and agreed. The capital was close to this place, and there was a large population. The consumption of vegetables every day was not small. It would take a long time to come back from the capital, but it would be faster to pull the vegetables over. There was no need to worry about the freshness of the vegetables. Bad vegetables could be fed to pigs and chickens. That's good. Then we have to send out the notice quickly. Otherwise they will plant other things. After talking about this matter, the two of them continued walking. Wang Wan asked again, "They haven't done anything yet. We can't always be on guard, right? There are thieves for 1,000 days, but there is no such thing as guarding against thieves for 1,000 days. No, we still have to wait. We have already sent a letter of goodwill. Let's see what they will do. If they really live in the first family in Linshui for 2 days, we will send someone to talk to them. First, we will discuss whether we can cooperate. If they can, we will sign the document and tell them some details. If they don't want to sign the document first, we will directly tell them the details we have prepared and let them play." Zhang Xiaobao did not seem to care much about the things over there. Usually he was like this when he arranged things. Wang Wan pursed her lips and smiled. She hoped that those people would not agree to sign the document first. They must want to cheat the details and do it themselves. Then she would see what they would do with the details. She had seen it herself. If she did not have some experience in this area, she would have been cheated. Zhang Xiaobao was too bad. The two of them spoke in a low voice. There were many people in the county, so it was noisy and no one could hear them. Only Zhang San saw the two children talking there and knew that what they were talking about was not a small matter. She took her son's little hand and said to the two of them, "When next year comes, we will have to repair the shops on both sides of the county. Some of them are so old that they can be blown down by a little wind. Tell me, how should we repair them?" Pedestrian street. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan thought of this at the same time. Now on the street, there were people driving carriages and people riding horses. It was too dangerous and smelly. In the future they would let them take other roads and leave this place for people to stroll around. In particular, Zhang Xiaobao wanted to open a small supermarket here. As long as people strolled in, they would have a certain desire to buy something. Looking at his father's puzzled eyes, Zhang Xiaobao said, "It's a place where carriages and horses don't go. What if someone gets hit?" That's fine." Zhang Zhong knew that his son couldn't say much at this time. He would ask about the future arrangements when he got home. Now he just needed to know that they didn't go by carriages and horses. The group kept walking. As they walked, Zhang Xiaobao suddenly said, "Let's go back and write a letter to the people of the boat company. Let's give them another chance and let them take the initiative." "Well, let's do it." Only Wang Wan heard this and said that she wanted to go back. When Zhang Zhong was puzzled, he saw his son winking at him. He didn't hesitate to turn around and take people back to the yamen. After a few words with his son, he wrote a letter and asked someone to send it to the little Luoshui wharf. When the stars and moon rose, the people of the boat company also arrived at the first restaurant in Linshui. Looking at the bustling scene here, they were angry again. The more prosperous this place was, the more business they would get. The group went up to the third floor of the restaurant and chose the room that had a clear view of the wharf and the shops on the shore. They ordered a table full of dishes and ate as they looked. They looked at the dishes more often and were in a daze more often. However, they rarely ate. Occasionally, they would raise their cups and take a sip of wine. Basically, they didn't have much to say. When it was midnight, Guoren finally couldn't take this kind of depressing atmosphere. The wharf below was lit up with lanterns, and there were still boats stopping occasionally. People were coming and going. For people who knew the business, this was money. Brother Wei Tong, hurry up and think of something. Last year, this place wasn't connected to the capital, so we could still bear with it. Now look, it's midnight and it's still so busy. How much money have we lost? Guoren couldn't take it anymore. He threw his chopsticks on the table and stopped eating. He sat there and looked down. His expression also changed. Everyone was thinking the same thing, but no one said it out loud. Now that Guoren mentioned it, they all gave ideas. Everyone thought about it and felt that it wasn't suitable. Another one was still not suitable. When they were almost done, everyone was helpless. They could only look at Mi Fan. He had a lot of ideas. Mi Fan was also worried now. He didn't know how to deal with the Zhang family. He couldn't even think about using force. It was also useless to use people from the government. Just as he was worrying, the door was knocked open by a waiter. He came in and said respectfully, "Everyone, the Zhang family has sent a letter to everyone. I wonder if everyone is willing to accept it." Everyone was stunned. They had just sent a letter in the morning, and now there was another one. Did they regret what they did in the morning? "Let me see." Guoren extended his hand. "Give it to me." When the waiter came closer, Mi Fan took the letter and opened it. She suddenly burst out laughing. After the waiter left, he said to everyone, "There's a way. The Zhang family still wants to cooperate with us in other areas, but they wrote out the most important thing." Chapter 352. The sun shone through the clouds, and the mountains in the distance were enchanting. The smoke from the chimney accompanied the crowing of the rooster, and the sky cleared up early after the rain. Early in the morning, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan begged their family to bring along 10 guards from the prince's mansion, as well as the former bailiffs who were chased away because of disobedience. These bailiffs were obviously better than the ones who stayed behind, and they were more serious in their work. Because of this, they were chased away. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan adopted the principle of using capable people. Those who were not of good quality could be helped to improve, and those who were too rigid would be used where rigidity was needed. A group of people rode on horses and jogged to Yawang Mountain, which was officially named. Some of the local people who didn't need to harvest wheat and those who came from other places were continuing to build roads on the mountain. The old people who couldn't do heavy work were also busy weaving baskets. These baskets were originally made by the old people of their own accord. After all, they were eating together. Zhang Zhong still spent money to buy them. He was fast at weaving baskets a day, but he only made 2 or 3 baskets. He bought one for 1 copper coin each. There was a person who specifically counted baskets on the side. He didn't even check if the baskets were solid or not. There was no need to check. The old people didn't weave baskets for money, and the ones doing the work were their relatives. If something happened because the baskets were not good, the unlucky ones would be their relatives. They ate well here, but there were some old people who felt bad and always falsely reported the number. They made up 3 baskets and insisted that it was 2. One of the baskets had already been counted, and the person who counted them watched them like they were thieves. It was absolutely impossible to underreport. Therefore, there were often disputes over whether a basket was counted or not. It was very strange. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came, there was a time when the person who was the fastest at weaving baskets was usually able to weave 4 baskets a day. After weaving a few more baskets every day these days, he actually sent 7 baskets and asked the person to count 4. The person who counted them was not a fool and insisted on counting 7 baskets. The old man was unwilling, saying that he used to weave 4 baskets a day. How could he possibly weave 7 baskets? They began to argue with each other. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan understood the situation, they were dumbfounded. The world was so big, nothing was too strange. Xiaobao, why does it look a bit like the gentleman's country? Wang Wan looked at the 2 people arguing and said to Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan blankly. What's Mirror Flower Fate? It's a novel. It says that a person goes to a certain place and sees different things. The country of gentlemen eats one of them. People there buy and sell. The seller will give the best goods for the least amount of money. The buyer will take the worst goods for the highest price. At first, I only thought that this was a novel full of loopholes and did not match reality. Today I saw that this kind of thing really exists. The people want to give in, but the officials are not willing. If the people and officials of the Great Tang can be like this, if they are more united and diligent in martial arts, then the entire world will belong to the Great Tang. Wang Wan looked at the 2 people pulling at each other as if they were fighting. They were fighting for 3 more baskets and 3 less baskets. Zhang Xiaobao also smiled. If that's the case, society will never improve. Only competition can lead to development. It's just human nature. People who can do this show that they know what the 8 ends are. Filial piety, friendship, loyalty, trust, propriety, righteousness, integrity and shame. The things that the people can do, the officials who are knowledgeable may not be able to do. There should be a difference between internal and external. Look at the dishes for lunch today. Wang Wan sighed and pulled Zhang Xiaobao to the kitchen. The 2 of them did not want to care about the dispute. They just treated it as a kind of entertainment. Otherwise, their days would be too dull. Before the 2 of them got close, a strong smell of cucumber entered their nose. When they smelled it again, it was still the smell of cucumber. When they got closer, there were also chives, bamboo shoots, and a small amount of eggs. Looking at the staple food, it was some millet. From the color, it could be seen that it was old rice. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately frowned. The vegetables looked good, but at this time, the cucumbers had already been harvested. It was the time when they were the least valuable. It was not a big deal to eat these usually, but now it was time to do heavy work. Eating only vegetables and some eggs could not make up for the consumption of the body. Every day the food was arranged. There was meat and vegetables. Where did the meat go? Zhang Xiaobao's face darkened. He gave Erniu a look. Erniu understood and immediately shouted, "Where is the person in charge? Come here." Here. Are you looking for me?" The person in charge was chatting with the basket weaver. When he heard the call, he ran over and asked, "I'm looking for you. Where is the meat?" Erniu pointed to the place where the dishes were being cooked. The person in charge knew Erniu's identity and thought that something big had happened. Seeing that it was this person who asked, he was relieved and replied, "The meat was fried when it was delivered in the morning. It was placed in the jar next to it. It was waiting to be eaten in the evening and at midnight. Now we eat 4 meals a day, morning, noon and night, plus a midnight snack." Erniu went over and opened the jar. There was indeed fried meat inside. He did not know what to say. It seemed that there was no food for the working people. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not see it that way. What did it mean to eat a meal in the middle of the night? Zhang Xiaobao pretended to be curious and asked, "Is it because you can't sleep at night, so you get up and eat a meal?" "That's right. What's there to eat at night?" Erniu also found the problem. The person in charge sighed. "It's hot now. After they eat dinner, they rest for a while. They will work until 1 a.m., then eat another meal and sleep. They will wake up before 7 a.m. and continue to work. They said that they can't take so much money for nothing." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally understood. It was high-intensity work, so they ate 4 meals a day. However, this meal did not look good. This time Wang Wan spoke. "This meal is delicious, right? I'll try it later. That's right. Why is this rice stale? Only a clever person like Erniu, who usually interacted with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan more often, knew what it meant. If it was someone else, they would not be able to ask such a simple question. The person in charge knew that more work was better for the people, so he had to continue to explain. This rice was sent by Registrar Jean. Oh, it was sent by Jean Wendy. When it was sent, it was good rice. The people here used good rice and exchanged it for stale rice. It's about the same. You can eat until you're full. If you exchange it for 3 batches, you can eat until you're full. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sighed at the same time. They really did not know how to describe the thoughts in their hearts. It was so simple. He worked more and took less advantage. If you treated him better, he would always remember. What should we do? Wang Wan's lips moved. Let's wait and see. Zhang Xiaobao could not ask for more dishes at this time. He thought that the people who came to work would not agree. He could only make up for it elsewhere. If they ate 4 meals a day, there would be meat for 2 meals and eggs for lunch. It was still okay. It was just that the rest time was shorter. After eating the last meal, they would only sleep for about 7 hours. Doing physical work and resting for such a short period of time was a behavior that overdrew vitality in advance. It's okay. You can do your work. Seeing that the young master and young lady did not continue to ask anything, Erniu held hands and walked forward. He said something to the person in charge and asked the guards to follow. The person in charge thought for a while and also followed behind. He knew the identity of the 2 little ancestors. If they were to ask something out of curiosity, he would have to run over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan walked all the way to the place where the work was done. There was no need for others to urge them. Even the newcomers worked hard without the slightest intention of being lazy. The weather was hot, and many people had taken off their shirts, swinging shovels and pickaxes. Beside them was a river. The flow was similar to that of the pier, but it was even slightly larger. A small river branched out leading to this place. It was so clear that one could see the bottom. It seems that the formation of the lake in the future is due to this river. Originally, this place was a little sunken. As long as there is a little natural disaster such as an earthquake, the river will change its course and become a lake. Zhang Xiaobao observed the surrounding terrain and whispered to Wang Wan. Wang Wan also agreed. She walked to the side of the river, squatted down, and touched it with her hand. It was cool and had a soft feeling. Why don't we let them make a lake here after the mountain road is built? Our family also needs to earn some benefits. We can't give away all the benefits. I also plan to do so. Moreover, rowing the boat back and forth on the lake and setting up some herbal medicine stalls by the lake is also a long-term income. Let the local people do it. Zhang Xiaobao also thought that it should be so. In the future, if they raised some fish in the lake, they could fish when they had nothing to do. Tourists would like it more. When they cooked the fish, they could let people add some herbs and make a medicinal diet, which could promote Yawang Mountain. While the 2 of them were talking, one of the workers accidentally stepped on air and fell from a steep place. While everyone was shocked, he hung in the air again. The person in charge patted his chest. Without waiting for the little ancestor to ask curiously, he took the initiative and said, "Those who work in dangerous places will have a rope tied to their bodies. Even if they accidentally fall, they are not afraid." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew this. They were the ones who suggested it. Human life was more important than heaven. The man was pulled up and went down. He squatted by the river and washed the mud off his body and the wounds he had just made. Finally, he wiped his face with water and looked at the people around him with a smile. He said, "It's okay. I feel much better after washing up." After he finished speaking, he stood up and went back to work. The others laughed and made fun of him. Some of the people who were sweating also came over to wash up. They scooped up the water in their hands and splashed it directly on their bodies. With a little rub, the mud balls were knocked off and bounced into the water. With someone taking the lead, the others also came to wash. The water, which was originally clear, became muddy after they washed. In addition to the mud and sand when they washed, They were too dirty. This kind of behavior was naturally not lazy. In the cool weather they worked faster. Zhang Xiaobao looked and suddenly said to Wang Wan, "I know what to do. Even if I sleep less, it can relieve fatigue." Chapter 353. Wang Wan was also thinking of ways to improve the lives of the people working. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao say this, she immediately widened her eyes and waited for him to tell her. "It's Yaowang Mountain. We can't lack medicine. It's not Huaqing Pool. There's no hot spring. We can make a pool for them to bathe in. We don't know what Chinese medicine to put in, but someone will." When Zhang Xiaobao saw others bathing, he thought of bathing in the pool. Not only could they wash off the dust on their bodies, but they could also relieve fatigue. They could also apply some Chinese medicine to disinfect and treat some diseases. "Yes, that's right. Xiaobao, you're right. Let's build a bathhouse for them and massage each other. Their fatigue will be reduced by a lot. Immediately go back and ask your father to fork out money from the Yaman's account." When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's idea, she immediately agreed. In the future they would look around to see if there were any hot springs. There should be many hot springs around. In a place like Shaanxi, as long as they dug deep enough, they would be able to find hot springs. Because of the geology, they could also build one at home. The sauna that was mentioned a while ago had not been built yet. They used the Mai Fan stone to build one at home. It was the same on the other side of the mountain. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. "We can't use the county's money. We'll fork out the money. First, we'll try to build a few at the foot of the mountain and let people think about it. When the time comes, we'll build it on the mountain. If the yamen is built, who will earn the money in the end? We also need to find a professional for the massage. Let's practice on the people who are working first. When the time comes, we can also charge for it." So that's how it is. Then in the future we can't just build big ponds, we have to build small ones. Each person has a different position. The higher the status, the more money we pay, and the better the ponds. "Xiaobao, what you're doing is immoral. You're making people use the workers to practice." Wang Wan agreed to the first part, but she was a little conflicted about the second part. How is it immoral? Isn't it the same if they massage each other? Find those doctors or medical students to do this. The doctors can also do scraping, cupping, and acupuncture. When they aren't confident, let the doctors and medical students do it first. To them, their excuse was to study medicine. Wasn't it good to have someone to let them experiment? He could teach his disciples, and in the process, he could discover some diseases in the living people. When treating them, the yamen would take care of the medicine, and it would be beneficial to the people who worked. When he went up the mountain in the future, he would let them take care of him. They would provide him with a bath, a massage, and cupping. It wouldn't be expensive to charge 100 copper coins for a set, right? If we sell some medicine, it will probably be a source of income. Zhang Xiaobao suddenly thought of the doctors at the docks. There would be more of them coming. Wang Wan was no longer conflicted. It was indeed the case. It didn't matter who pressed. Under the guidance of others, it was much better than these people pressing each other. They must have pressed where they were sore and were not professional enough. Thinking of doctors, Wang Wan also thought of the inheritance of medical skills. Now most people were learning by hand. This was a little slow for medical skills to spread. She nudged Zhang Xiaobao. "Should we print some of Sun Simiao's books? We can give them to the doctors for free, but they have to help us do something." "I think this is a good idea. We don't need movable type. We can just let people carve plates. We can print more at one time and collect all of Sun Simiao's books. In the future we still need movable type. Otherwise we can't afford to carve them. If there is someone with high medical skills and comments something, we can't carve it again and again. Movable type is good. Let's make a mold first and reprint it again and again. We can leave more for reprinting. When the lead is melted we can pour it in. We can make the words bigger so that the ink is not good and it is tiring to dip the ink." Zhang Xiaobao also agreed to print. It was too tiring to just copy by hand. It couldn't satisfy the doctors who came. At first they wanted to carve plates, but later they felt that they should use movable type. Wang Wan reached out and pinched Zhang Xiaobao's face. "You are usually very smart. Why are you so confused now? Who said that you can't add comments to the plates? The original plates can be used, right? Can't you just carve another plate with comments? Put the two plates together and make the paper bigger. Then, it will be the original book with comments. It is not easy to study movable type and it is tiring. You should let people think about it first and print Sun Simiao's book as soon as possible. This is a serious matter. You can't eat one mouthful and get fat." "That's fine too. Let's do it." Zhang Xiaobao agreed. "What do you mean by fine too?" "I have thought about it thoroughly." Wang Wan emphasized her ability. Those people were still working. They didn't know that because of their efforts, someone thought of better benefits for them. Erniu, who was the closest to them, heard their conversation. He knew that the little young master and little young lady were kind. They were always the kind of people who were good to each other. If they were not good to each other, they would give them another chance. If they were not good to each other, they would not talk about using thunderous means. They could feel sad for a child who was not eating well, but they could also look at a person who was killed and not change their expression. When he talked with his master, he mentioned that officials could give him some benefits when the lives of the people under their rule were better. However, he absolutely disliked the idea of being greedy when the people were not able to eat. An official who was greedy and could let the people live a good life was better than an official who could not do anything and could only suffer together with the people. Erniu could not understand. The two were almost extreme. Yes, they were extreme. According to what the little young master and little young lady said, why would two extreme things appear in one person? Erniu, why are you in a daze? You have another mission. Go there and bring back more my fan stones. Bring more money and buy more seafood. If you can buy a place with my fan stones, that would be even better. When you find a wife in the future, we will definitely arrange a decent wedding for you. Zhang Xiaobao just called Erniu, but Erniu did not respond. Ah, if I leave, what will happen here? Erniu was a little worried as he accompanied the two little ancestors. We can't live without you. Find someone smarter in the inner court. My father is an official. Tomorrow, Cuckoo and I will come out with a guard of honor. There will be 20 horse-drawn carriages with canopies and umbrellas. There will be people holding signs in front. Along the way, yellow sand will pave the road, and still water will sprinkle the streets. When the civil officials see it, they will get off the sedan chair, and when the military officials see it, they will dismount. What do you think? Zhang Xiaobao joked with Erniu. Erniu also laughed. I will be beheaded. I will leave now. Little young master and little young lady, you two be careful. This is not like Sanshui County. After talking, Erniu mounted the horse and left. Only he knew about this matter. It was impossible for others to be involved. Just like how Pomegranate was in charge of the loyal fungus, Cherries was in charge of the hatching of the chicks, and Xiao Hong did not tell others about the adjustment of the feeding recipe. After Erniu left, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan continued to stroll leisurely. The road leading to the mountain had been built for more than 200 meters. Baskets of soil and stones were carried down, and some wood was carried up and nailed to the side. When the time came to pull the rope, there was no need to worry about anyone falling down. At the same time, they had to walk among the children and the elderly, listen to them chat, play with the children for a while, and ask them if they wanted to study. The two of them also carefully looked at the younger children. When they returned, they would ask their father to find someone to teach them how to take care of children and set up a kindergarten. They did not expect to learn too much, as long as they could take good care of the children. They stayed until lunchtime. Then the two of them washed their hands and prepared to eat together. For lunch there was no stew. When there was meat it was stewed. Scrambled eggs with cucumber slices, scrambled eggs with chives, and sweet and sour slices. These three dishes were really good, but there was not enough oil. The two of them each had a bowl of small rice. They ate the dishes with extra eggs. That was the disadvantage of the small rice. It cooled down slowly, and they had to blow on it while eating. The people were already used to the county magistrate eating here. They also knew that the two children were not picky and did not have the slightest restraint when eating. In the afternoon, the two of them continued to observe the terrain and prepared to repair the lake. Because Erniu went to greet them, another clever person was sent over. He was 17 years old and had been living in the main family. There were also 3 generations of his family. He usually did things quickly and did not cause trouble, so he was sent over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also knew each other. His name was Zhang Xiangru, a man who gave a woman a name. No one knew what he was thinking at that time. As soon as Zhang Xiangru arrived, he said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "When I came, Master said that you two should go back quickly. The ship cannot be delayed." "Oh, I know. Then let's go. In fact, it's not a big deal. The purpose of life is to enjoy. When the arrangements are made, just wait. We can't think about it all day." Zhang Xiaobao stretched. He had just finished eating and was sleepy. He and Wang Wan went to the river to wash their faces and cool down. Then they rode back on the horse. A group of guards carefully followed around, afraid that the two little ancestors would fall asleep while riding. When the two of them returned to the yamen, Zhang Zhong was there dealing with the people who came to report to the yamen. It was not a big deal. The number of people who were arrested a few days ago had reached 400. Those who were not killed were all sent to the road repair site to work. After dealing with an old lady who had a lot of mice in her house and asked the adults to think of a way to get a few kittens, Zhang Zhong could finally rest for a while. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan just happened to come back. "Xiaobao, the news just came in this morning. Those people are staying in the first house in Linshui. The letter has also been delivered. What should we do next? I'll leave this matter to you. I still have to deal with the government affairs." Zhang Zhong called Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to the study. He decided not to care about the people on the boat. Recently there were more people coming, so there were more trivial matters. In the past, the people would think of their own ways. Now, as long as they were close to the yamen, they would come to ask. There were all kinds of things happening. Chapter 354. After the imperial examinations, all the scholars who passed were overjoyed. Those who didn't and those who wanted to take the examinations next year stayed in the capital. These people immediately caused the capital to become much more lively. After the imperial examinations, the brothels and restaurants everywhere became places they frequented. They would either drink alone or invite 3 to 5 friends to drink to their heart's content. The rich were naturally easy to deal with. They could spend as much as they wanted. However, those who didn't have a lot of money, and even those who were poor, found that if they didn't think of a way, they wouldn't be able to wait until next year. Every time this happened, there would always be people who sent invitations to the various residences. They wanted to be a teacher for the people in the residences, or at least become an advisor. However, there were too many people in the imperial examinations this year. Only a small portion of people obtained such a position. The rest of the people had no other choice but to write letters or copy books. Even more people would go to the brothels and help recite a poem or two. They would eat and play for free. Perhaps they would even be appreciated by the brothels and be given some money. However, if the poem wasn't good, then no one would care. Those who were thin-skinned would think of a way to make a living. Those who were thick-skinned would follow beside the rich scholars and help them grind ink, pass the brush, and wait for them to finish writing before flattering them. There were also some that had nothing to do with being thick-skinned. Instead, the rich young masters would do such things for the poor people, admiring talent. There were also some people who had good relationships with each other. Regardless of whether they were rich or poor, they ate, drank, and slept together. They talked about the big and small classics and talked about poetry. All of this showed the various states of life. Happiness and melancholy intertwined together. Life was just repeating these things. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao was busy dealing with the people on the boats, so he still had time to think about this matter. The Zhang family once again made their move. On Vermilion Bird Avenue, when the sun had just risen in the morning, a procession appeared. The entire procession was made up of 20 carriages. Originally, the carriages were used to carry goods, but large signs were erected on both sides. There were large words written on the signs. This wasn't for the common people who didn't know how to read, but for the scholars. As a result, the calligraphy was flamboyant and flamboyant. There were also some landscape paintings, accompanied by the sound of gongs and drums. The grand procession slowly moved from one end to the other. 20 carriages lined up in a row. It was difficult not to attract attention. The commoners were curious. Since they couldn't read, they could only ask around. Those who could read started to tell the people around them. "Xiao Qing, I heard that you got into the second grade exam this time. What did you write? Read it to your auntie. It looks really good." In the capital, a female shopkeeper asked a man who was sitting by the window and eating when the procession passed by her. This man was around 25 or 26 years old. He had taken the Bright Classics examination this year and had passed. His position was a little behind, but he was still a secondary class, rank 8 official. The people who knew him in the past were more respectful when they saw him. Only this female shopkeeper in the shop was the same as before. She kept calling him Xiao Qing, but he didn't feel angry at all. All these years, the money for his studies was all given by this female shopkeeper. He only had one mother at home, so he couldn't make ends meet. If it wasn't for this female shopkeeper, he wouldn't have been able to study. He would have been lucky if he didn't starve to death. He didn't want to and didn't dare to disrespect this female shopkeeper. When he heard the question, he respectfully said, "Auntie, this is prepared for some students. It's said that Huayuan County and Sanshui County are going to hold a competition and invite all the scholars from all over. They can help Huayuan County or Sanshui County. The side that wins the most will get the first prize of this competition. This prize is given to everyone. Also, everyone who gets first place will get a good prize. They will be selected one by one, just like the imperial examinations." After saying this, the man stopped and waited for the female shopkeeper's reaction. "So it's like this. Xiao Qing, are you going? What's the prize?" The female shopkeeper looked at Xiao Qing and asked. "Starting from 10 days later, all the students can go by boat without spending money as long as they take out their documents. The meals for the next few days will be taken care of by the 2 counties. First, you have to tell which county you are going to help. Then you can board the boat of that county. I will ask later if I have any work to do in 10 days. If I do, I can't go. If I don't, I can go and have a look. The prize is worth a lot of money. The first place of a single person will get a set of the 4 treasures of Black Bamboo Pavilion. It costs 50 strings of silver. That's the one that everyone has. It's also a set of the 4 treasures of Black Bamboo Pavilion. However, it's the last one. It costs 50 strings of silver." Xiao Qing explained in detail. He was a little tempted. He felt that it was better to compete than to stay in the capital. It was not far away. The female shopkeeper nodded and asked again, "What else is there?" Also, the 2 counties will be recruiting teachers at the same time. It will only last until the imperial examinations next year. Depending on the professor, the teachers will get 40 to 100 strings of silver per month. The food and lodging will be taken care of by the Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi. There will be meat for 1 meal every day, and there will be holidays every 10 days. Xiao Qing explained another thing. He didn't care about this, but those who couldn't make a living should consider it. The Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi. Are you talking about the Zhang family and Wang family in Sanshui County? The female shopkeeper didn't pay much attention to other things, but she knew about the 2 Zhuangzi. Xiao Qing nodded. It's the 2 Zhuangzi. If it were someone else, no one would believe it. But the words of the 2 Zhuangzi are naturally not ordinary. Seems that people like me have a place to go now. No matter what, eating and sleeping is not a big problem. Xiao Qing was right. Now, there were many students on the streets who had spent their money and didn't know what to do. They were preparing to work in the two counties. Of course, they also wanted to participate in the competition. They could choose one of the two opportunities. As long as they were on the right team, they would get a lot of money. To them, this was not a small sum. They could save up the money and spend this year without any worries. Next year, they would be able to take the imperial examinations again. In addition to those who wanted to find something to do, those who were rich also wanted to participate. It wasn't for the reward but fame. If people remembered them, they would have some fame in the future. Otherwise, why would they insist on treating others to a meal? They drank all day and had a splitting headache. Wasn't it just to be famous? The sound of gongs and drums was not small. Even people who had a hangover last night would be awakened by the noise as long as they were on the two sides of the Vermilion Bird Avenue. Some officials' mansions were also here. When they heard the noise outside, they asked the servants in their mansions to investigate. When they returned, they said that it was a matter of two counties and involved the Zhang family and Wang family. Many people pretended that this matter didn't happen. Only a few people complained. Some people praised this matter. These people were basically wholeheartedly devoted to the country and the people. They knew what was involved in this matter. The students who were in dire straits could finally settle down. In addition to the attention of these students, there were also some businessmen and families who lacked manpower in their mansions. The businessmen wanted to go to the competition venue to take a look. It would be better if they could sell something. If they couldn't, perhaps they could find a talented person and betroth their daughters to him. The families who lacked manpower were naturally unable to judge the number of invitations sent by so many students. They didn't look for people not because they didn't want people, but because they didn't know how talented they were. Those invitations might have been written by others. At this time, knowing that there was going to be a competition, they sent people from their mansions. Countless students, as long as they competed, they would naturally know who was good and who wasn't. That time they would recruit people even if it cost more. This was also the purpose that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to achieve. He wanted more people to pay attention to the two counties. He and Wang Wan had already set off. They took a boat and went to Little Luoshui. Today was the second day that those businessmen stayed in the first house near the water. Fast horses passed back and forth. After all, it would take some time, so it was better to go there in person. The two of them set off from the dock of Huayuan County. On the way to between the clouds and the water, they didn't receive much attention. But when they arrived between the clouds and the water, when the people there saw the two rice seedling flags on the boat, they directly sent a boat to welcome them. This is the real home. In this small piece of land, we finally don't have to worry. Wang Wan saw the boat coming and said with relief, "Yes, this is our home field. If we go further, the people on the boat will have less to worry about." Zhang Xiaobao also relaxed. He looked at the restaurants and waved his hand vigorously at the ships that were coming towards him. Immediately, there was a wave of greetings on the boat. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat joined the boat between the clouds and the water, the people in the restaurant between the clouds and the water who could see this place were all shocked. What a big show! Even the Marquis's escort boat was surrounded. There were only 2 children on the bow of a small boat, but so many people were alarmed. On the boat that greeted them, there were even managers of restaurants. Those who knew the situation could only sigh at the power of the Zhang family and Wang family here. Those who didn't know the situation asked the waiter. The waiter's answer was simple. The people on the boat were the young master and young lady of the main family. As long as they weren't stupid, they would know who the main family was. After passing the restaurant between the clouds and the water, when Zhang Xiaobao looked at his home again, he found that it was different from when he left. It was really like what he thought at the beginning. The two of them only learned about it in the letter, but they didn't see it with their own eyes. If it weren't for my father's urging, I would go back and stay for a few days and play with the children on Zhuangzi. When I move in the future, I must bring them with me. It's comfortable to look at them. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't intend to keep a low profile at this time. The main family's people came here not only to show their dignity, but also to show their recognition of this place. Chapter 355. When the flag formed by the 2 rice seedlings appeared in the eyes of some of the villagers, they all ran toward the small bridge and shouted from a distance, "Stop the boat!" Following Zhang Xiaobao's order, the boat stopped right below the bridge. If it went forward a bit more, it would enter the bridge. Once the boat stopped, the people upstream and downstream who didn't know the situation all broke out in a cold sweat for the boat. They knew the rules. On the entire river, from Jingdou all the way to Dingping County, as long as you felt the boat could stop steadily, then it could stop anywhere. However, it could not stop at this small bridge. One reason was that the bridge was smaller than other bridges and could only allow 2 boats to pass through. If one boat stopped, it would delay the boat behind it. The other reason was that it was not allowed to stop. The reason was that it was not allowed. As long as a boat slowed down a bit, there would be bailiffs on the shore who would rush over with bows and arrows, aiming at all suspicious places around them. Especially in the water, there would be people patrolling along the shore with spears. There were a few people who stopped to look at the scenery, but they were all fined and taken to the yamen of Sanshui County for questioning. In the end, they found out that they were just looking at the scenery, but they were still warned not to look at the scenery at the small bridge next time. The people on Zhuangzi understood that that position happened to be a blind spot for the hidden sentries on Zhuangzi. They couldn't see anything, so no boats were allowed to stop. They couldn't even go slower than normal. However, there was a boat that stopped today. The 2 children on the boat were still waving their hands, as if they didn't know the rules at all. When a boat stopped, the other boats would give way to each other and move to the other side. At this time, they were probably moving slowly, wanting to see what would happen to the 2 unlucky children on the boat. As expected, the bailiffs guarding this side took out their bows and rushed over on their horses. The villagers on Zhuangzi also rushed over. There was a kind-hearted person on the boat following behind. He shouted at the boat that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were on, "Hurry up and go to the front to wait for the bailiffs. Don't move. Otherwise the bailiffs will really shoot. Don't provoke them." After shouting this, he muttered, "Whose child is this? Why did he cause trouble for the adults? Alright, let's go to the yamen and talk." The other boats had the same thought. Seeing that the people on both sides had gathered together, a shocking scene appeared in front of them. First, the bailiffs put away their bows and dismounted from their horses. At the same time, the villagers who ran over did not hold any weapons in their hands and stood there respectfully. "Greetings, young master. Greetings, young lady." Their voices, which were not too different from each other, rang out beside the ears of the people on the boats. Zhang Xiaobao was still waving his arms and shouting to the villagers, "Good, my family is good. When we change places, we will take you with us." Cheers rang out from the villagers once again. The bailiffs who dismounted from their horses also stood on the shore. The person in the lead stepped forward and clasped his hands. "Song Yang, on behalf of the brothers, greets young master and young lady." "Young master, is everything okay with the master?" "Good. Last night, my father was talking about the brothers in Sanshui County. He said that if the people in Huayuan County had the ability of the bailiffs in Sanshui County, it would save him a lot of trouble and he would be more considerate." Zhang Xiaobao turned around and shouted at the bailiffs. These bailiffs didn't cheer like the villagers. They stood straight and puffed out their chests as much as they could to let the young master and young lady see their graceful bearing. Zhang Xiaobao had already winked at Zhang Xiangru many times. Unfortunately, Zhang Xiangru was not as experienced as Erniu and did not know what the young master meant. Zhang Xiaobao had no choice but to speak by himself. "Cuckoo and I are going to Little Luoshui, so we can't talk to you anymore. When we come back, we will stay here for 2 days. Farewell, young master. Farewell, young lady." A clever villager took the lead and shouted. The others, including the bailiffs, also followed suit and shouted. As Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat passed through the bridge, the bailiffs were arranged to ride horses and follow the boat on both sides. Those who were anxious for the two children or waiting to watch the show were all dumbfounded. Who was so arrogant? Not only did the boat stop at the small bridge, but the villager and bailiffs who came over were also so respectful. I know who they are. They are the young master and young lady of Zhang family and Wang family. No wonder. The people on one of the ships knew a little more. Thinking of the situation just now, they immediately guessed what kind of person could be treated like this. The people on the other boats suddenly realized that they were in their own home, so they could stop. No one dared to say anything even if the bridge was torn down. The bailiff's reaction was not strange. The entire Sanshui County was the territory of the Zhang family and Wang family, and the bailiffs were supported by them. The people who were worried about the two children were relieved. Those who were waiting to watch the show did not dare to say anything, in case the villager and bailiffs heard them. At that time they would be the ones to be arrested. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan continued to ride the boat forward. They looked at Zhang Xiangru at the same time and felt that this newcomer was not easy to use. They did not know how long it would take for her to reach the level of Erniu. Although the boat looked shabby on the outside, the structure inside was different from other boats. The space was bigger and the water was deeper. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were ready to go in and rest, so that they could deal with the following situation. Unexpectedly, the people patrolling on the water also came over. The two boats were one in front and one behind. The bailiffs on the boats only had knives on their waists. They did not see bows and arrows. People who did not know the situation thought that these two boats did not have any fighting power. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that the weapons on the boats were definitely illegal. No matter how high the status of Sanshui County was, it was impossible to allow the use of strong crossbows. It was a little smaller than the ones used to attack cities. It could only shoot 3-4 foot long arrows at a time, and the string was half twisted. When necessary, it could be pushed out and twisted twice. On this river, such a crossbow was almost invincible. The two boats also found the boat with the flag of 2 rice seedlings and quickly approached. When the bailiffs on the boat saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan standing at the bow of the boat, they immediately saluted as before. The person on the boat at the front asked, "Little master, little miss, where are you going?" "Let's go to Little Luoshui to have a look," Zhang Xiaobao said to Zhang Xiangru after seeing that it was useless. "Then little master and little miss, take care," the person on the boat responded. The two boats passed by the small boat one after another. Who knew that as soon as they passed by, they changed direction and followed closely behind. "Xiaobao, you have been enjoying this kind of treatment in the past, right? Do you feel very calm?" Wang Wan saw the boats behind them and asked Zhang Xiaobao. "Yes, calm. I am also calm when there is a rumbling sound. Don't you think it should be like this? I don't believe that you haven't accepted any bribes." Zhang Xiaobao also saw the two boats behind them. They were supposed to be patrolling, but at this time, they were following behind to protect him. When he heard Wang Wan's question, he replied. Wang Wan thought for a while and said, "I really haven't accepted any bribes. I only accepted a cigarette and 2 fish. I couldn't eat them, so I threw them away. You can't guess what kind of cigarettes they gave me. It was a hardcover Hercules. The price was 3 yuan and 5 yuan a box. I don't smoke, so they bullied me. A single fish. How much money is that? A box is 2,000 yuan, and there are 10 boxes of 1 fish. That's 100,000 yuan. 1 fish is 2 eyes, and 1 eye is 100,000 yuan. 2 fish is 400,000 yuan. You threw them all away. Amazing." Zhang Xiaobao also cupped his fist and said to Wang Wan. Wang Wan was stunned. "What do you mean? What else could it mean?" If you open the box, you'll find that there are 20 rolls of 500 yuan in each box. 1 box is 10,000 yuan, and 1 fish is 100,000 yuan. Starting from the gills under the eyes, there is a line of money. If I'm not wrong, the fish should be about 2 feet long. 2 fish means 400,000 yuan for you. What's the case? What kind of case is this? Zhang Xiaobao knew a lot about this. 100 years ago, he gave 100 yuan as a gift. Later on, it was 500 yuan each. He gave them as cigarettes. It was a very old method, but it was usually very useful. For example, filling a bottle of erguotu with mautai was a national banquet. Unfortunately, they met a special person and threw them away. When checking whether the fish was bad or not, why didn't they check the eyes and break the gills? Wang Wan finally understood. I know what is going on. But they are fine. Why did they give me gifts? And so expensive. Isn't it up to you whether they are fine or not? How would they know? Fortunately, you accepted them. If you didn't, someone might have a heart attack. Just like the boat behind us, if you ask them to go back now, they might not be able to recover for a few days or even longer. They will always think that the Zhang family and Wang family are not satisfied with them. Zhang Xiaobao told Wang Wan about this psychological need and comfort. Understand now. So that's how it is. It seems that sometimes accepting gifts is also helping others, right? No wonder they accepted so much money from us. Turns out that they are helping us. The people Wang Wan was referring to were those who had been with Zhang Zhong when he was taking the imperial examination. Zhang Xiaobao just smiled at this and didn't say anything. The boat continued to move forward. After a while, they encountered 2 patrol boats. The 2 boats behind immediately turned around and headed in the direction between the clouds and the water. These 2 boats seemed to have contacted the boat that left. After passing by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat, they also turned around and followed behind. Wang Wan didn't say anything at this time. Since others wanted to get a kind of recognition, she would give it to them. Zhang Xiaobao yawned and went into the cabin first. Wang Wan looked around and followed him. Xiaobao, do you think they will really do what you said? Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao lying on the blanket. She moved 2 pillows over and threw one to Zhang Xiaobao. Chapter 356. The first house in Lin Shui. The ship merchants were still in the room where they ate the day before. It was not because they were rich. Even if they were rich, they still had to line up to get a room on the 4th floor of the first house in Lin Shui. It was because between the clouds and the water had attracted too many people recently, causing some people here to be unable to afford the rooms on the 4th floor of the first house. Don't be fooled by the fact that the merchants of the ship seemed to be rich and overbearing. When it came to small amounts of money, they would never relax, even to the point where it would make people's hair stand on end. When they used this room, they calculated the price of the food and the price of the time. When they ate, they would definitely be stuck until the last quarter. As long as they finished eating, they would not continue to take care of the room. When other rich people came, they would directly pay for a day or even half a month. According to the amount of 500 copper coins per hour, even if they did not come, the room would still be reserved for them. The ship merchants would take the room if they had it, but not if they did not. They would definitely not pay when they did not eat. At this time, they were very lucky to meet a time when they were not willing to spend money and eat in this room. Brother Wei Tong, should we wait for them to finish talking and then block the waterway from the Jing River to the Luoshui River? The little Luoshui River also uses the Luoshui River. It's good to settle there. They still want to do things with us. They want us to stop the big boat there and then let the small boat transport it. They also want us to discuss with the people of Luochuan County and jointly build a pier there. Are they stupid? If we just block the place where the Jing River enters the Luoshui River, what can they do? Guoren seemed to have drunk some wine before coming here. When he spoke, his tongue was not straight. It was awkward no matter how one listened to it. Fortunately, his mind was still clear. Mi Fan's face was gloomy. He naturally knew where Guoren went. It was the only brothel behind the little Luoshui pier. That brothel was opened by a person in the capital. Even the most ordinary woman would cost 5 strings of money a night. Some of them sold their skills but not their bodies. No amount of money could buy them, and they also covered their faces with veils. It was said that the rent of this brothel was 20 times higher than other places. All the food and drinks had to be prepared by the first brothel in Linshui. Similarly, the price was 20 times higher. Otherwise, they could just sit there and chat with the veiled women or listen to music. No one would do that. There was a pile of food in front of a girl. She could eat a little when she was resting. She couldn't afford to give you a cup of plain water. It seemed that Guoran had spent a lot of money today. A few dozen copper coins to listen to a new song was not considered little. A few hundred copper coins to chat with a beauty and listen to the sound of the zither was also not considered much. Brother Weitong, just say the word and we will immediately go and block that place. I don't believe that 60 ships of sand and stones can't block that waterway. Guoran was still thinking about the good things. When Mi Fan received the letter the night before, he told them the contents. The Zhang family would work with Luochuan County, Dingping County, and their shipping company to build a pier in Dingping. It would be convenient for large ships to transfer to small ships, and small ships to large ships. At the beginning, no one would have thought that this could be done. When the time came, both sides would earn money. When they transferred, they didn't need to use the same merchant or the same type of goods. The large ships would receive goods along the way. When they reached Dingping County, they would start to distribute the goods to the small ships. This way the journey would be shorter. They wouldn't have to wait for the goods to come to the capital to earn money. They just had to transport goods from Chuanshu all the way back and they could earn a sum. After all, the return journey was against the current. It was too tiring for the large ships to travel. If they didn't load the goods in the capital, they would lose money. With the small ships in Dingping to receive goods, not only would they not lose money, but they could also earn a little more. The route would be divided into segments and there wouldn't be a shortage of goods. However, this idea was sent by the Zhang family. Now, the shipping company wanted to pressure the Zhang family. Therefore, no matter how good the idea was, it could only be used to deal with the Zhang family. The small river could earn money because it connected the capital and Chuanshu. As long as the diversion point in Dingping County was blocked, the goods from the capital could only be transported to Luochuan County. This was also the place called De Luoshui. If they cut them off, everything would be solved. They would turn their cooperation into a conspiracy. These people were more excited. At this time, after hearing Guoren's words, they also felt that it was feasible. The idea of cutting off the trade route was suggested by Mi Fan. However, Mi Fan would never have thought that they would be prepared to cut it off like this. Looking at Guoren's excited gaze in front of her, Mi Fan finally couldn't hold it in and said loudly, "Good idea. Using dozens of ships to block the Luoshui River. In a few days, our heads will be cut off to block the Luoshui River. Does the Jingshui River belong to us? We can block it if we want to. Then why don't we pool together the ships of our families and make 100 ships, fill them with sand and stones, send them to the canal, and sink them to block the waterway to the capital. That way, the transportation to the capital will be useless, and the grain won't be able to enter the capital. Even the emperor will be afraid of us. Don't you think so?" When everyone heard this, they didn't make a sound. Only now did they think about how the two counties and prefectures would react if they blocked the canal. Even if they had a few heads, it wouldn't be enough to chop them off. For the sake of one Zhang family, they would harm the common people. Even if the Zhang family didn't do anything, there would be many people who would do it. If they handed in a memorial, the emperor would see it. With just a word, the princes in the prefectures would confiscate their families. Although Guoren's body wasn't easy to control, his mind was still clear. When he heard this, he asked, "Brother Weitong, didn't you say the waterway would be blocked the night before? If we don't sink the ships, what else can we do?" The other merchants also looked at Mi Fan. Mi Fan felt a bit sad that she had to work with a group of idiots. However, these people did listen to her, so she could only say, "Those who come from Chuanshu don't dare to take the dangerous route. It's only because they haven't reached Chuanshu that small boats can pass through. In Dingping County, when you enter the Luo River, don't you know how fast the current is? If you use an oar, when a wave comes, all your strength will be wasted. If you use a bamboo pole, you won't be able to reach the bottom of the water. Don't their small boats rely on the trackers from that corner to pull them? Send 3 large ships over. As long as they anchor there, say that the ships are broken and can't move. Their small boats won't be able to be pulled by the trackers. They will need to go around our large ships. It's already a fast current, and now it's blocked by 3 ships. Which small boat do you think will be able to pass? That's right. As long as a small boat wants to pass, it'll happen to meet the 3 large ships blocking the slanting current. One boat will capsize. We didn't do it on purpose. It's the large ships that are broken. After a few boats capsize, we'll send a few large ships and leave 3 ships there. We'll say that there's a problem. Even if they don't want to, they'll have to hold on. Only those who have rowed for decades are willing to give it a try. Others won't be able to do it. How many people can they find? 1 in 100. It's a good idea. When a merchant heard Mi Fan's words, he also thought of this point and started to flatter her. When the others heard this merchant's words, they also understood the reasoning behind it. They all agreed. Mi Fan felt a bit helpless. How could no one think of such a simple thing? They were even prepared to sink the ships to block the entrance. She sighed to herself and said, "This matter isn't urgent. We'll talk about it after we ask them about the details of the sea route." The merchants once again banded together, and one by one, they began to talk about how to deceive. The more Mi Fan heard, the stronger her fear became. Even when she mentioned using a boat to divert the small boats, she felt the same way. This plan was perfect. She didn't know where it went wrong. Could it be that the Marquis' shipyard could make small boats that were not afraid of such things? Unless they ate deep water. But if they ate deep water, they wouldn't be able to cross the river. As long as she thought of this, she felt a bit upset. She couldn't help but say, "Actually, the Zhang family's plan of switching from large to small boats will make us more money than before. Why don't you think about it?" What's there to think about? If they don't die, we will. So many pairs of eyes are watching us. If we really lose face, will we still do business in the future? Brother Wei Tong, you overestimate the Zhang family. This is a matter on the water. They don't understand. They only know how to farm and raise chickens. How would they know the dangers on the water? Guo Ren poured himself a cup of wine and drank it again. His eyes were glazed over, but his words received the agreement of the other merchants. They were indeed afraid of the Zhang family's manner, but that was on land. They didn't dare to interfere with some of the transactions. But when it came to the water, it was not as simple as imagined. No matter how powerful the Zhang family was, could they naturally understand things in the water? Then they wouldn't have to manage a small river. Mi Fan looked at the gazes of the merchants that were looking at him one by one. Finally, he compromised, even though he felt like his heart was being tightly grasped by someone. He had never been in such a situation before. In the past, when there was danger, he just felt uncomfortable. This time he found it difficult to even breathe. What is it? What other tricks does the Zhang family have? Why is it like this? It's worse than dying. Could it be that the whole family is exterminated? The Zhang family really has this ability. He just has a top scholar and knows a marquis. Why does his chest hurt? Mi Fan pressed his hands to his chest. He valued his body's reaction very much. In the past, when he encountered things, he only felt a little uncomfortable. Every time he made the decision to hide, he would go to the temple or Taoist temple and receive good news. But this time was different. He felt like he was going to die immediately. Those merchants didn't know how uncomfortable Mi Fan was. They were still fantasizing about forcing the Zhang family to beg for mercy and be as obedient as dogs. Chapter 357. When night fell, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat also arrived at Little Luoshui's pier. The two of them slept comfortably, rocking on the boat as if they had returned to the cradle when they were young. "Cuckoo, I suddenly thought of something. You said that in the northeast and some other places, children sleep in cradles when they are young. As long as the cradle is gently rocked, The child inside will not cry and will sleep peacefully. Some people say that this is because they are afraid that the cat will take the child away. But I know that some people have cats and dogs at home, and those cats and dogs will stay by the side and help push the cradle. This is not the main point. What I want to say is there any difference between that kind of rocking and seasickness or carsickness? Especially ships. Why do people who are used to being rocked by cradles become seasick when they grow up? When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan got off the boat, he suddenly thought of something, so he said to Wang Wan. Of course, Wang Wan knew about this matter, especially for some families who raised monkeys. Their children were all taken care of by monkeys. When the children were placed in the cradle, the monkeys would help to drive away mosquitoes while pushing the cradle. Their strength was neither too light nor too heavy. There were even milk bottles that were warmed and warmed. The monkeys would even help to feed the children. According to the theory of seasickness, the children would have vomited long ago, and it was impossible for them to sleep so peacefully. What was the reason for all this? Looking at Zhang Xiaobao's eyes, Wang Wan shook her head and said, I really don't know. Do you know? I don't know much about it either, but you should be able to find out that the younger the child, the worse their bones and muscles are. But every time they fall they will cry because of scratches, but it is very rare for them to break bones. If they are short, then if they fall from a height of 1.5 meters, the probability of them dying is definitely lower than that of an adult. Also, you can try to put a baby on calm water. If you put an adult who can't swim on calm water, the baby's survival rate is higher than that of an adult. There's also a simple example. When a baby under half a year old cries, it's very rare for him to lose his voice from crying. Even if he cries for a few hours, if you ask an adult, how many of them won't lose their voice? Zhang Xiaobao continued to talk about the comparison between a baby and an adult. Wang Wan was confused. Some of what Xiaobao said was true. Especially when a baby cried, it could be heard very clearly from a distance. If it were an adult, it wouldn't take too long for them to stop crying if they wanted to have the same effect. Xiaobao, is it related to the recovery speed of the body? Wang Wan asked. No, if you give the poison milk powder to the babies and the adults will be fine, but the babies are basically done for. Actually, what I want to say is, why can I jump from such a high place and be fine? And why can I climb such a high place with my bare hands? Zhang Xiaobao became serious at this time. Why? Training. Wang Wan only felt that this was the right answer. No, it's regress. Babies don't have a sense of height. Even if you put him at a height of 1,000 meters, he still dares to climb down. It's like when you suddenly encounter a high-speed football head-on. You dodge backwards, thinking that you're seriously injured. You face it head-on. Unless you're very unlucky and the football happens to hit your weakest point, the injury you suffer will be much smaller. What I want to say is a kind of mentality. People who sleepwalk don't care about height. Just like a baby, they may fall to their death at a certain height, but at that height, people with the same physique as them will definitely fall to their death if they jump from that height. My training is actually to make myself feel less afraid and to be able to imitate the state of sleepwalking to a certain extent. As long as my body's muscles, bones, and coordination can withstand that height, I will be safe and sound. Many people who sing are the same. They are imitating a baby's voice. The pitch is very high and the penetrating power is very strong. Can give people a special resonance. This can be nurtured. For example, our perception of danger, judgment of targets, and the hints we give ourselves when our body reaches its limit can be nurtured. An excellent battlefield sniper can sense certain things within his or her accurate sniping range. For example, you can, Okay, Xiaobao, I know what you mean. That is, under the same amount of effort, talent is more important than hard work in certain aspects. But what are you trying to say? Wang Wan interrupted Zhang Xiaobao and asked. What I want to say is that while we were on the ship, through the information gathered by Li Sun, I discovered a person who has a natural talent for sensing danger. He is different from us who are trained. He is born with it, and he is even more sensitive than us who are trained. His name is Mi Fan. Zhang Xiaobao finally got to the point. Wang Wan also saw the information sent by Li Sun. She thought about it and nodded. Indeed, but even if we want to kill him now, he can't avoid it. The two of us are enough. He is not as good as us. He won't use that kind of innate talent. Yes, 99% of sweat and 1% of talent is success. The most important is that 1%. Do you want to let him go? No, I want to keep him by our side like Song Jinggong, especially when we go out to sea. His talent is too important. I don't even know if I am a theist or an atheist, a materialist or an idealist. Zhang Xiaobao sighed and said, when something that a person insisted on was washed away, it was very uncomfortable in the heart. It could even cause one to lose one's sense of direction and the will to live. Although Wang Wan was a member of the system, the things that people in the system understood were the most mysterious. Xiao Bao, what is materialism? I believe that materialism is science, and this science is exploration and research, not positioning. If you say that the unknown is unscientific, then your statement is unscientific. Don't be fooled by the system. Look at those buildings built by the government, and look at the rules that those officials usually follow when they do things. If you still don't understand, then think about why the great people of the past would go to draw lots before every big battle. Do you know what a unit is? What did 83441 represent? When we don't understand, we don't have to admit or deny it. We don't have the ability to explore. We just have to be ourselves. Oh Cuckoo, you are right. If souls can come, what is impossible? I want that Mi Fan. He is not Guan Yu, and I am not Chow Chow. Tomorrow I will talk to them about the sea. When it's about time, I will immediately send a letter to Li Sun and ask him to prepare. Zhang Xiaobao didn't insist on things that he didn't understand. He quickly made up his mind. Wang Wan didn't understand. Xiaobao, are you confident? It's not at the same level at all. If you get Yao Chong and Song Jing here, I might put in more effort, Zhang Xiaobao said proudly. Chapter 358. The night was misty. It was summer insects outside the window. Fireflies were hanging in the sky. The night is misty, looking at the starry sky. I am looking for a star, it is so bright, it is so affectionate. Wang Wan was lying on the ground in a house behind the dock. She looked at the starry sky outside and hummed. Zhang Xiaobao didn't sleep on the couch. The ground was cooler than the couch. The mahogany floor was polished smooth and painted with a layer of lacquer. Listening to Wang Wan's humming, he felt that he had heard this song somewhere before. Seemed to be very distant. He touched Wang Wan. Is it a song from 100 years ago? Can't you choose a closer one? I learned it when I was in the military academy. I've been singing it all the time. Everyone sang it and it became popular. Do you think life should be like a star shining in the distance, or like a meteor streaking across the sky? Wang Wan was probably hot. She was lying there and discussing life with Zhang Xiaobao. I think it should be like a star, like a meteor. It should crash into the earth and then cross the sky. Zhang Xiaobao put his hand flat on the floor. You are such a person. If you die, you will drag others down. It is too hot. It will be hot even if you put ice in the house. It would be better to have an air conditioner. Wang Wan imagined what the next star that was many times bigger than the sun would be like. She shook her head to get rid of this ridiculous idea and complained about the heat. Zhang Xiaobao was also hot. There were 2 basins of ice in the house. The air circulation was slow, so he didn't feel cool. Occasionally there was a breeze from outside. It was warm. Hearing Wang Wan mention air conditioner, he suddenly said, "We don't have air conditioner. If you want to cool, you have to heat first. But we can make an air conditioner fan. It is very environmentally friendly. It doesn't use electricity or other fuel." Really? Then you should make one quickly. Not only can we use it but also the restaurant. Then there will be more people willing to eat there. Tell me the principle and I will help you. As soon as Wang Wan thought of the cool breeze, she became interested and stopped sleeping. Zhang Xiaobao coughed and imitated the tone of a scholar. Today I will first talk about the problem of heat transfer. As everyone knows, the existence of heat is ultimately Get to the point. Wang Wan patted Zhang Xiaobao and hugged the bamboo pillow next to her. Actually, it's just a fan made out of wood or bamboo. In front of the fan, there's a basin filled with ice. You can ask someone to shake the fan. That way, the cold air will be blown by the wind. That's the air conditioner fan. Zhang Xiaobao felt a little embarrassed after saying that. This is your high-tech invention. Environmental protection. Then what's the point of using a fan? Wouldn't it be the same if he just used a fan to face an ice fan? Wang Wan curled her lips. Rich people didn't ask their servants to face an ice fan to cool the house. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't want to treat their servants that way. Otherwise, they could find a few more people to take turns to fan the air so that it wouldn't be so hot. Zhang Xiaobao thought for a while. It's not the same. My invention doesn't require too much effort. Using the lever principle of the mutual exchange of gears, the person who shakes the fan can make the fan turn many times. If you fan the fan, it will only move a little. Yes, just do it like that. There's no need for people. We are on a river and the wind is strong. As long as we make a fan outside some rooms and connect it from the bottom, not only will it add a special scenery, but it will also be able to blow the wind in the room through the conversion. It's better than opening the windows directly. If the wind can't blow into the room directly, it can blow in through my invention. The project is bigger and the gears are simpler. There's no need to use good steel, and there's no need to bite so well. It just needs to be able to transmit the force and drive the fan. It's not like it's generating electricity. Let them melt the molten iron and cast it directly. Yes, we can try to do this. Let's start with the first house near the river. That house is made of wood. As long as there's a hole, the connecting shaft can go in. Use a wooden board to block it and beautify it. Use wood for the shaft. If not, it's too heavy and expensive. Get up and draw the blueprint. Zhang Xiaobao was talking by himself. As he was talking, he was perfecting his idea. His drawing skills still need to be improved, so he could only call Wang Wan to wake up. Let's do it tomorrow. How much are you going to invest this time? People are used to having an ice basin in the room to cool down. Even if we don't do it, they will still come to eat. Wang Wan didn't want to move. She turned over and spread her arms on the floor. Zhang Xiaobao came over and pulled her. One night's time will be wasted. Others are used to the current situation, but we have to let them get used to our place. They won't be used to other places. I can't draw by myself. I know the principle of the lever, but I don't know how to move it. Get up quickly. I'll make shaved ice for you tomorrow. Yes, just let the people in Huayuan County make shaved ice. Let's also make shaved ice for the people in Sanshui County. We can sell it everywhere and earn more money. There's so much edible ice stored in the winter. Our own restaurant won't be able to use it up. Don't pull me. Up. When the academy opens, I'll go there and find a good drawing master to learn. Wang Wan got up by herself and sat beside the desk with Zhang Xiaobao. She lit another candle and it brightened up a lot. It's going to open soon. When those students come, the academy will open. It will give the academy a free promotion. Some of the competition venues can be put in the academy. There will definitely be people joining. Only when there are students and teachers will be willing to teach. Zhang Xiaobao spread out the paper, helped Wang Wan grind the ink, and talked about the academy. I knew you wouldn't just let people come here to compete. You don't have good intentions to let people from 2 counties make shaved ice, right? Wang Wan had been used to Zhang Xiaobao's style of doing things. She muttered and began to think about the design with Zhang Xiaobao. It took 3 hours for the 2 of them to draw more than 10 pieces of paper. Only after adding notes and descriptions did they manage to come up with a rough idea. As for the specific adjustments, they were handed over to the craftsmen. They were very experienced, so if they were given an idea, they would be able to figure it out themselves. Zhang Xiaobao clapped his hands and said, "Okay, send them to Zhuangzi tonight and find craftsmen to make them. Zhang Xiangru, come in." There were sounds of getting up and footsteps outside. After a while, Zhang Xiangru came in and said, Little master, little miss, what can I do for you? Send these papers to Zhuangzi and send people to collect fruits. Buy the shancha left last year, especially the ones in Zhuangzi's warehouse and the ones that have just come out. Send them by the river. Put some of them at each place and send people to watch over them. Do the same with the ice, the kind that is edible. Zhang Xiaobao handed over a piece of paper and ordered Zhang Xiangru. Zhang Xiangru didn't ask more. She took the paper and turned around to leave. You asked them to make shaved ice because you want to sell the shancha trees left last year on our newly granted land. And those fruits that are about to come down. Wang Wan didn't want to study anymore. She pulled Zhang Xiaobao outside to take a shower and said, "That's right. How else can we sell them? Our shancha and the quality of the fruits is not good. If we do this every year, we won't have to cut down the trees anymore. Wasting resources is a shameful act. We can also sell more to the people in the 2 counties. There are many flavors, and people who come to see will want to buy and try it," Zhang Xiaobao said as he walked. The next morning the weather was still hot. Fortunately, the spring plowing was over, so there was no need to worry about the drought. The people sent by Zhang Xiaobao came to the room where the shipping merchants were. They didn't manage to get a good place today. The waiter of the first shop in Linshui said that the room had been reserved by someone else. They could only change rooms. It seems that everyone has agreed to the matter of building a ship and going by sea. Let's sign the documents first and then talk about the details. The people sent by the Zhang family said solemnly to the shipping merchants. There were no dishes on the table, only some brushes, ink, paper and inkstones. Everyone looked at Mi Fan. Mi Fan didn't look well today. He kept having nightmares last night and didn't have an appetite for breakfast. He was still thinking about what kind of danger was coming. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he took a sip of tea and said, "It's not that we can't build a ship together, but we have to know how to do it. Otherwise, what if we lose money after we do it? It's better for you to tell us the details first." "Boss me, it's like this. It's written on the documents. After you sign, if you lose money because of the details, then the Zhang family and Wang family will compensate for everything. If we tell you the details and you don't sign, then it will be difficult for us." The people from the Zhang family pushed the documents forward and said, "How can we not do it?" "Don't worry," said a merchant from the ship company next to him. Seeing that, the people from the Zhang family nodded and handed over another document. He said to everyone, "Some details are written on it. Everyone can take a look first. After you read it, don't forget to sign the documents." The owners of the shipping company looked at each other. In the end, it was Mi Fan who spoke. "If that's the case, then wait for us to read it and then ask you to come over. Can we just tell the waiter in the restaurant?" The people from the Zhang family nodded and got up to put away the other things. They only left the documents that needed to be signed. He said, "It's like this. If there's nothing else, then I'll leave first." After the people from the Zhang family left, the people in the room immediately showed a special smile. "Brother Wei Tong, take a look. It's best if you make a copy. Then say that it's not done well and that we can't work with them," Guo Ren said excitedly as he held the paper in his hand. Mi Fan didn't know why, but when she looked at the paper, she felt that it was difficult for her to breathe. She picked up the paper with trembling hands and flipped through it one by one. The more she looked, the more she wanted to continue reading. It was as if there was something on the paper that attracted her. "Brother Wei Tong, what do you think?" Guo Ren asked. The Zhang family is really good. If we do as they say, we can definitely make a lot of money. Unfortunately, we can't go the same way as them." That you're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.